It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Woohoo! On this House Music Monday edition of Shawn and Maya in the morning. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. Man, oh man, oh man, we got a great show for you. I am fired the freak up. Had a great workout this morning, and I am ready to roll, ready to talk some sports with everybody. Everybody. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Now, listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're not following us on Facebook, tisk, make sure you go to SportsZone Chicago and like us on Facebook. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, excellent. Okay, make sure you go to our YouTube channel if you're not subscribed and type in SportsZone Chicago, okay, and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on the app or watching this on the app, excellent. Okay, and if you haven't downloaded our app, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, for real. What are you doing? If you haven't downloaded the app, do me a favor. Wherever you get your app from, type in SportsZone Chicago. You see the logo over my left shoulder. That one right there. Okay. And you can download SportsZone Chicago. All right. And you can take us with you on the go. Not only will you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, but you'll also get 4 other live shows. Okay, that you can watch, listen. You can take us with you on the go. Now you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings, at SM_mornings. You can also tweet us at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I mean, nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I would be remiss if I didn't bring him out and introduce him. He is the man behind the curtain, the man that makes it all run, the whiz, we like to call him, but actually I love to call him my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
I'd be better if the Cubs were better, but they're not. They're not. Now, you know, I feel like this team's going to make some type of a move. And I don't know whether it be in better play. I know I'm just jumping into it with the Cubs, but it's like just watching yesterday's game, it was you hate to lose. Like it's one run throughout. Jake was
masterful.
Masterful after a certain point. You know, he gave up that one run.
One run.
It was
These guys are professionals on the other side too.
You're not even letting me explain. What I'm saying is he gave up that one run and that was it. And then he was masterful. But then that's it. That's all the Cubs can like that's it. That's all the Cubs bats could do is sit there and watch Jake be masterful for the rest of the game. And so he had to come out for Alex Mills. And then, you know, you saw the rest of it. Or if you didn't, you heard about it. And look, like I said, it's a tale of two Cubs. Like, who are they? They had 13 runs. You know what I'm saying? That Atlanta Braves series, it was the same thing. You have 15 runs to start this series, and then all of a sudden it's like flat. Where are the big bats? I know Chris Bryant's on fire, but still, Baez, yeah, okay, it's nice when you hit home runs in garbage time, but I need you to do that, be more consistent. I think he's ready to break out, though. I'll be honest with that. I think Javi might be ready to start actually trying to hit more singles and doubles and just letting the game come to him instead of trying to press. But still, the Cubs they're not where you want them to be, but it's still early, I guess.
Okay. I love when Ivan gets fired up in the morning. We didn't even start, and he's fired the freak up. That's awesome. Hey, listen, we got a great show for you, but we need you to get interactive with us today. So wherever you're watching or listening to us from, whatever platform, do us a favor, okay? Do us a big favor. Just leave a question or comment right there on whatever platform it is you're watching us, and guess what? It'll come up here, and our boy Ivan will post it on the screen. You know what we want to do is we want to get everybody involved. We like getting you guys involved with your questions, your comments. We can answer them right there, almost in real time. We'll answer them, but we just want you to get interactive and be part of the show. Now, listen. When I say I got a great show for you, I am not bull jiving. At 10 o'clock, our guy Ozzie Guillen Jr. is going to call in. We're going to talk a little White Sox baseball. We're going to talk a little history that's not history, that should be history, or maybe it will be history. They'll talk about it. We're going to talk about that and Mad Bum, what he did yesterday, and get Ozzie Jr.'s take on it. If you don't know who Mad Bum is, and second of all, what he did yesterday, stay tuned. We'll talk about it in the top of the morning segment. And then at 11 o'clock, Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Audible is going to call in. We're going to talk Bears football. The draft is this week, and I am fired the freak up. Okay, what is going on? What are the Bears going to do? Are there trade rumors, or I shouldn't say are there? There are trade rumors. Which ones do you believe? Which ones do you want? Which ones do you want to happen? A lot of stuff going on. And Nicholas has gone down to the Senior Bowl the last couple of years and getting a good perspective and a good view on some of the people who have entered the NFL draft. And I want to see who he likes, who he thinks the Bears should get, and how they should fortify and go about how they should fortify this team and go about their plan for the draft. How he would do it if he was the GM. So Ozzie Guillen Jr. at 10 o'clock. And Nicholas Moriano at 11. Listen. Guys, you know how we do? The first segment of every show, it's called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
The Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And listen, and actually one of the members of the Chicago Crusader newspaper is going to join us at 9:30. Okay, he's going to join us at 9:30 for the Top of the Morning segment. So don't go anywhere, folks. He'll be here. Actually, he'll probably be here in a few minutes. Actually, it's 9:15. He's got some stuff to do, but Jason's going to join us at that point. But listen, the first Top of the Morning topic, this came across about a little less than an hour ago. I was getting the rundown together. I had it finished. I sent it out, and I was like, "Oh snap!" Then I get a text, and then I get a notification that this happened. Wow, this is a tough one. Andrew Shaw, the Chicago Blackhawks. Andrew Shaw has decided to retire after 10 seasons. Andrew Shaw has won 2 Stanley Cups, 13 and 15 with the Blackhawks, and I'll tell you what, he was a pain in the ass. Okay, he was one of those guys who put his body on the line every night. He was one of those guys who was just a pest. He was a nuisance in front of the net. He wasn't a big guy. Okay, so big guys, you like to plant big guys in front of the net just for distraction purposes. He was one of those guys who was a huge distraction, but a lot shorter. He was a nuisance. He was a pain. He got in the way of goalies. He got in the way of defensemen, and he made his living that way. He was a tough son of a bitch, I'll tell you. He was all the abuse that he took out in front of the net, second to none.
There was in that series, in was it 13, 12, 14 against the 14 against the Bruins. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was a 14. Yeah, it was 13. 13 against the Bruins. Excuse me. He took that puck to the face, dude. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was middle of the ice. They were just throwing the puck down, and he's coming across after off the bench, and he just takes this puck like right to the face, dude. It was the most nasty shit. I thought he died. Like I thought he looked like he got shot on the ice, and he was done.
A sniper.
He just glided across. It it was funny now, but like it was messed up then because he just glided across the ice like after a second. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? But he came back with his shiner, and I think he had a couple missing teeth. But dude was just all guts for Andrew Shaw.
Yeah, he was, and you know what? He was one of those guys that you need. He's one of those guys that every championship team needs. Okay, someone who's going to do the dirty work, and dirty work that he do. He went out and dug the puck out of corners. Again, as I said, he stood in front of the goalie, annoying the hell out of the goalie. You talk about getting slashed by the goalie, getting hit constantly by defensemen who are trying to protect their goalie, you know, and all he did was score goals, okay, in front. So, according to the article, he was retiring due to multiple concussions. It's not an easy job. Hockey is not an easy sport. It like football, has a lot of collateral damage once you're done, okay? And it forces a lot of people to retire early depending on the situation. You know, look at Troy Aikman with the Dallas Cowboys. All right, he was a Hall of Famer who had won 3 Super Bowls, but the fact of the matter is he had to retire early due to concussions. You know, there are a lot of other people. Look at the Junior Seau's, look at the David Duersons, a lot of other people who've gone on and had concussions. And you know, it's really, really frustrating. It's unfortunate, you know, that's one of the side effects, but unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast. You know, in football and in hockey, you get guys with tons of concussions. Carbomb, Dan Carcillo was one of the guys who had retired, and he was a bad Mother Hubbard in his day too. He was a fighter. You know, he was a real physical guy with the Stars, and then he was with the Blackhawks for a while. And you know what? He's actually had a crusade now to kind of help, you know, those in as far as hockey goes. You know, there's just a lot of rules that have been enacted because of some of the things that he's doing. Real quick, before we continue on, I want to bring in my guy. He's the host of one of the hottest shows here on SportsZone Chicago. It's called What's Up, Cuz. He hosted with his cousin Lance C. Irvin. He worked for the Chicago Crusader newspaper. He's also an official who just who's back on the field officiating. I know he's happy as a pig in slop. Let's bring him out. He's a guy you can find on Twitter at Jay Coyden. It's JayCoyden. Guys, let's bring him out. Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, good morning. Happy Monday, man. What a great weekend for the White Sox. Not so good for the Cubs. The Blackhawks struggled. The Bulls are being the Bulls. But, hey, you know, we got sports going.
We do. And what else would we be? What else would make us happier than complaining about our sports teams?
That's right, man. Oh, man, it's a big week, Shawn. So I'm glad to be on this morning. I know you're going to talk NFL draft like crazy leading into the draft this week. And there was a big UFC fight. Some dude got knocked the hell out and another guy broke his leg. It was a crazy weekend, man. The reaction from Joe Rogan alone. Yeah. When the dude broke his leg, because the dude didn't realize he broke his leg. The dude didn't realize he broke his leg, so he was just he was kicking him with his leg, just kind of trying to swipe his leg. He broke it, and then he kicked with the right leg. He broke it, and he brought his leg back to stand, and that thing was he was just standing like, yeah. I was like, damn. And yeah, that was wow, that was entertaining. Well, you know what? Memorable. Let's put it that way. It was memorable. Same thing happened to me when I broke my leg. I was 9 playing football in the backyard, and I actually broke my femur, which is the largest bone in the body. So it's a very hard bone to break. But I broke it clean, and it happened so fast, I didn't feel it. And I tried to get up. And I was
How are you doing?
I was playing football. I was running for a touchdown. My guy caught me from behind. My leg got stuck in the mud. My leg went one way. My body went the other. The bone cracked. So I'm on the ground. I'm mad. Damn, I didn't score. I tried to get up, and I was like, why is my leg facing that way? It's supposed to go this way. And I was in a state of shock. And then once we realized what was happening, I went, ah!
So, I was like Joe Rogan.
Right. Exactly.
Dude, that's crazy. That is nuts. Did you have to wear a full leg cast?
Leg cast. I was in a body cast. This
body
is back
cast.
Body cast.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Okay. So this is back when if you were 9. Yeah. Technology hadn't advanced that far.
That's right.
Would have been a whole body.
This is back in the 80s, man. My whole right leg was in a cast. Half of my left leg, and the cast came up to like here. There was a big 2x4 bar in between, so that was completely immobilized, man.
How'd you go to the bathroom? They leave a hole for your ass, or what?
Yep, that's exactly what they do. They leave a hole for your private parts, man. I was on my back. I was in the hospital 40 days and on my back in the cast for an additional 6 weeks after that.
Damn, another 42 days. Damn.
Yeah, I broke it in August. I didn't get back to school until January. That's why I'm so slow, man. I missed the whole semester in the fourth grade.
Oh man, the things you learn here on Shawn and Maya in the morning, dude, that is nuts. So we were talking about the first top of the morning topic, Andrew Shaw. This just came across the wire just a few moments ago, actually about an hour ago. It came across the wire. He's retiring due to concussions after 10 years in the league, 2 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks. And you know what? Andrew Shaw was a key component of those final 2 Blackhawks Stanley Cup championship runs. He was just, in his diminutive size, he was just the biggest pain in the ass. You know, he was the guy who annoyed the goalies, who annoyed the defensemen in front of there. You know, he'd skate around, or he'd leave the front of the net, go behind the net, come back in front of the net just as you're looking the other way. You know, he'd come on the opposite side, and you know, he's there for the put-in. He's there to fight. He's there to battle and really just be a nuisance and a hindrance to the opposing teams. And he was good at it, and he was not afraid to mix it up at all.
I agree, man. You know, he would take some stupid penalties. That was part of his game, too. That was the part that you couldn't stand. But what he provided for you, man, you know, somebody got to do the dirty work in every single sport. Whether it's that dude who just wants to get a rebound in basketball, you know, somebody got to be willing to be the grinder out there. And he played that role to a T with the Blackhawks. You know, he kept people off Patrick Kane. You know, he would definitely annoy the other team to throw them off their focus. You know, he was a very valuable, important part. And let's not forget, the guy could score some too. Yeah. You know, it's not like he was just out there, was just offensively challenged. You know, he got a lot of his goals just from being right there near the blue paint in front of the net and being a garbage man and taking out the trash. So, you know, I'm going to miss him. He'll be one of those guys too that will always be in Chicago fans' hearts just because he did that kind of lunch pail work for the Blackhawks. But, you know, you and I have talked before. We were happy with Corey Crawford's decision because of the concussions. We were concerned about his long term. I felt the same way about Andrew, man. You can't keep taking them concussions like that, man. Go ahead and retire, man. Spend time with your wife, spend time with your kids and your family. You know,
it's amazing how, you know, and I know as athletes, you never want to give it up, man. You never think that, you never want that day to come. You know, you never, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Every athlete, father time is undefeated. Okay. And every single player has to come to that Jesus moment. Like, I can't do it anymore. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, and some go out on their own terms and great for them. And others, you know, are forced out. I don't know if he decided to go out on his own terms. Or if this was it, but he seemed to have a decent head on his shoulders. He seemed to be able to walk away from it. It wasn't because of an injury. Maybe he just said, you know what, maybe he had a tough hit the other day and like, hey, I don't want to take any chances. And you know what, I can't, I ain't mad at you, Papa. I am not mad at you for doing everything that you wanted. You won a Stanley Cup. You know, how many people have never, you know, made it to the playoffs in the NHL? You know, nonetheless, not to mention win a Stanley Cup, and he's got 2 of them. Right. Yeah, he's got a good resume, and I'll tell you what, for him, I'm totally happy. I'm completely happy for him. He's made in his earnings, he's made $29 million in his career. So as long as he's taking care of it, you figure about $15 million or so, you know, taking home. You know, that should be more than enough money. You don't really hear a lot about hockey players going broke. You know, you really don't. So hopefully he falls in that category, and he, you know, for the rest of his life is what, you know, and then he can still be a dad, being a father, being a husband, and can go on living a normal life. And let's not get it twisted. He's going to be wanted by a whole bunch of different networks. You know, NBC Sports Chicago or Channel 5, or just, you know, they're going to want to hear his take on it because he's just so recently removed from the game. Yeah. So he's recently removed from the game, but he's also a link back to the championship years and the championship teams, and he can talk to you about it. So he's not going to be away from hockey for a long period of time. It might even be like 10 minutes ago he might have signed. Who knows?
You know what? And when you hear Andrew Shaw talk, as a journalist, you can tell when you're interviewing these guys who's possibly got a chance to come into our realm and do this stuff as an analyst. I think, with Troy Murray getting a little bit up in age on the Blackhawks broadcast, he may be looking to bow out in a couple of years. Don't be surprised if Andrew Shaw is the person that they start, possibly looking at to kind of fill an analyst role in the future for the Blackhawks. I would not be surprised at that at all. And, in terms of, the decision, it comes a lot of places, but let's not also forget that, your wife can have a lot of influence on stuff too.
Yeah.
And I will never, ever forget, what was the guy before Raymond Harris, who the Bears had, who was the fullback, the white guy, came from Pittsburgh.
Brad Muster?
No,
Merrill Hodge.
Merrill Hodge. And Merrill Hodge retired because of concussions.
I was going to say Craig Hodges.
Craig Hodges. Yeah, it was Merrill Hodge. And he retired because of the concussions. And he said what happened was he came home one day and his wife told him, Raymond Harris can have that job. I need you. And that's what made him go ahead and retire because of the concussions. And his wife basically told him, look, you've had enough. Come on home now.
Yeah, we've got enough money. The thing that most athletes don't realize, and it's starting to become a little more in vogue now. Okay. Once you make a certain amount of money, you realize that you're not going to make that money again, but you're not necessarily going to be away from the game and the sport that you love. Because there are other roles, there are analyst roles that you can have, whether it be for your team or whether you're in broadcasting and you want to be the color guy, right? Probably not the play-by-play because that takes a little more, but you can be the color analyst as well, and that's a good pay. And because depending on who you are and your name, you might not start off at the bottom where a lot of kids just out of college are. You'll have a little more panache and a little more. I mean, that's a good $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year job. For you as a former athlete. And listen, combine that with the millions that you've made, with the 6-figure income, and that's not taxing on your body at all. That's a great place to be. And a lot of athletes should really consider, which is why it's extremely important to go to college, right? So you can learn how to speak in front of people, because a lot of times people don't know how to speak in front of people. And if it's a situation where you want to stay close to the sport, okay, then you know what, and you want to be an analyst because you obviously are able to talk about what's going on in the game, then get to college. After the season's over, after your career's over, step in the broadcast booth. Okay. And there's a lot of guys who've done it. Tom Waddle has done a good job. Eddie Olczyk has done a good job. Stacey King's done a phenomenal job. I mean, and those are 3 different sports. And I did that for a reason, because it can go in any specific sport. I mean, hell, look at Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie Guillen can't get a managing job to save his life, but they're paying him well over there.
That's right.
Chicago, because the people here in Chicago, Ozzie Guillen will never have to buy another beer in this town again.
Well, and think of Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas,
Big Hurt.
He's not only doing NBC Sports Chicago, but he's doing national stuff for FS1 and Fox. Yeah. So you got Big Frank. You got Darren Jackson, a former player. He's doing the White Sox baseball analyst role. I mean, it is a wealth of opportunities for you out there in the media career after your athletic career. And we've been very blessed in Chicago. We got some really good analysts.
Man, who I'm a really big fan of is Jammer. Jamal Mayers. I really like him. He's, and especially he's a person of color. I think that's a phenomenal thing, especially in that realm. Hockey isn't necessarily a sport for people of color. It's growing. The number of people of color are growing, but to have him be an analyst, and he's so articulate. I love it. He dresses to the nines. He's so that is perfect in my eyes.
He had the best suits.
Yes, he does.
Hands down, he's the best dressed analyst. Like me and my wife comment on all the time with us. So we're just like, what is he gonna wear this time? Because it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be fly. Whatever I give him hands down the best dressed analyst in Chicago.
I agree.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, hats off to Andrew Shaw. I'm glad he's able to step away from the game. I guess on his terms, maybe he didn't want to, but he's able to walk away from the game, and he's not carried off on a stretcher. And like you said, maybe it was his wife or his partner, his significant other, the mother of his children had something to say about it, and that's a very valid point. But whatever it was time for him to get out and what he did, and glad he's got most of his faculties remaining. And again, he can still stay close to the game, doing a whole bunch of other stuff, just not getting hit and crunched by 215, 225 pound guys on skates anymore. So hats off to him. Hey, listen, we got to take a quick break. But on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hi, this is George Iceman German. I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Swinging a line drive, fair down the right field line. That'll score at least one as Robertson is in. It's a double for Colton Wong to drive in yet another run.
The action on the Brewers radio network in a 6-0 win over the Cubs on Sunday. Brandon Woodruff outdueling Jake Arrieta. Woodruff gave up 2 hits, struck out 8, and walked 2 in his first win in 11 career appearances against Chicago. For the Cubs, Arrieta pitched 6 innings of 2-hit ball, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Milwaukee led it 1-0 after the first. It piled on with a 5-run top of the 9th. The White Sox doubled up the Rangers 8-4. Michael Kopech struck out a career-high 10 over 5 innings. Jose Abreu homered and drove in 3 runs. NBA tonight, second straight for the Bulls at Miami. On Saturday, the Heat with a 106-101 win. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We're smack dab in the middle of our top of the morning segment, and we're sitting here with our guy Jason Palmer from the show What's Up Cuz that he hosts every Monday with his cousin Lance C. Irvin, the men's basketball coach at Chicago State University. And we just got done talking. The first top of the morning topic was Andrew Shaw. That news just broke about an hour, a little over an hour ago, about 8 o'clock, 8:15-ish or so. It broke. And, as fans of the Blackhawks, we understand his value and the role he played on those teams. And man, it's not necessarily a sad day. We're going to miss him, but what we also understand that there's life after hockey, and you have to think big picture. That you have to think long, the end game, and long term. And he did. Whether it was his own accord or someone else put some pressure on him, whatever it is, he's walking away. And again, he's walking away and not carried off the ice. Well, the next top of the morning topic, man, oh man, let's do it, baby, let's do it. Like Lisa Victoria Jimenez says, Southside, baby, Southside. Yes, mama, yes. Thanks for tuning in. Listen, the White Sox beat the Texas Rangers 8-4, brought out the brooms and swept the Rangers over the weekend. They actually have a 4-game winning streak, to be honest, but they swept 3 out of 3 in a row from the Rangers. Michael Kopech looked masterful. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. He gave up a home run, no walks, and 10, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times He struck people out. He had 10 Ks. He actually had 10 Ks after 4. He had 10 Ks after 4. Jose Abreu went 2 for 4 with a home run, 3 RBIs. Nicky, 2 strikes. God, do I love this guy. He was 2 for 4 with a ribby. Okay, Adam Eaton 1 for 4 with 2 ribbies. And Zach Collins, how you doing? 3 for 3. I like that kind of party. They brought out the bats yesterday. And you know what? And Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert said, hey, we've been doing well the first 2 games. Will everybody else have some shine this game, because both didn't do very well on Sunday, but they had been killing throughout the series.
Yeah, Zach Collins, I was really happy for him. All his hits were infield hits too, which I found hilarious. Like your catcher got infield hits, but okay.
The speedster that Zach Collins is.
Right, which was hilarious. But
they're on the base paths.
But they're starting to be that offense that we thought they could be, where there aren't weak spots in the order. Not having Eloy there is definitely taking them a while to adjust, I'm sure. But we're starting to see guys hit the ball. The weather's starting to get warmer, which means they're really going to start hitting here. It's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. Yep. So, God, Detroit's in trouble tomorrow, I think. But, yeah, I was very impressed. And let me just say this. Michael Kopech needs to be in the rotation. You need to move Dylan Cease out, put him in the bullpen. I think Dylan Cease has had more than enough opportunities to prove himself, and he's proved himself that he's not a starter. So put him in the bullpen, bring Kopech out, and let's not forget, I forgot completely about Rolando Lopez, that he's still on the roster. He's just not with the team. That's another guy. I'm like, well, where is he? Is he going to be in the bullpen? What are we going to do? So I think La Russa's got options. It's going to be very interesting to see how much longer he stays with Cease, especially once Lance Lynn comes off this disabled list. But I thought the White Sox played very well all weekend. Clutch hitting by Madrigal, just, all over the place. After Hendricks gave up the game-tying home run in the 9th inning, Nicky bails him out with the game-winning hit there in the bottom of the 9th on Saturday. So, they're starting to be the team we thought they were. Got to still concentrate on the defense. The bullpen still got to get better, giving up too many runs out that bullpen, which is my major concern right now. But very happy with the offense, very happy with the base running. It's been very aggressive. Our guy, Yermin Mercedes, was running on a hit and run. I was like, this has got to be a hit and run. I could not see this guy doing a straight steal. But, it just started to be that fun team. That fun, talented team. And, I'm really looking forward to getting out to some games here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, me too. And, we're definitely going to have to meet up there and throw a few back, because this is it's just enjoyable. Okay, we're not going to be drinking to drown our sorrows. We're going to be drinking in celebration, because this White Sox team is good, and they're really starting. Lou Bob had a really good series. I was really impressed with the way he's coming around. There's just that first game when they were throwing him sliders, and the first 3 times, man, he was just befuddled. He was just like, what the fridge crackers is going on? And then the 9th inning, when he came up, he got that base hit. He laid off the slider, and that's what you're talking about. When you see things like that, those are in-game adjustments. Those are adjustments that you can't – that good players – great players or average players will make throughout the season. Good players will make them in a series, and great players can make them in games. Okay, within a game, you make that adjustment, and he did, and he's starting to show why he is a 5-tool player. And I love Lou Bob. I just and I know Ivan thinks I got it out for him, and I do, because he's so talented. I'm going to demand the most from him. I'm going to be most critical of him, because he is so talented. Your stars as a coach, you press your stars the most. You don't lean off them. You're on them, okay? Because you demand, because you see the potential. I see the potential in this guy, and it is, God bless, it's scary what this guy can do when he moves up in the order. In a season or two, and he has protection behind him. What the frick are you going to do if he leads off, or if he's batting second, Yoan Moncada's batting third, and Jose Abreu's fourth? What are you going to do? You can't pitch around this guy. There's no way that you can do it. And this guy's going to have fastball after fastball after fastball, and he's going to be going yard, or double off the wall, or he's going to a line drive off the wall, which would have gone out. It just wasn't high enough. But and this guy is
double. He'll turn a single into a double quick.
He'll turn it. You're right. And you know what? So I love him, but I want more from him. I want more from Yo-Yo. And I still don't see that desire. I don't see that hunger. I don't see that underdog mentality. And I wish if I see it, I'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll say this: you're like it's somewhat irrational, but I think it's comparable to like me talking about Javi Baez. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'll say it's that comparable because Javi has all the talent in the world, but then you see like just some of the stuff that he does kind of irks you. You the same way, you know, some of the stuff that Lou Bob did last season and seeing him, you're like, all right, you know, yeah, he's young, but that shit can't happen if you're gonna potentially be the talent that you're supposed to be and the guy that they're expecting this guy to be. I mean, you can't have things like that happen and you have to correct them quickly. But
you know what? I forget.
It's somewhat irrational, but it's not.
No, it's not. I forget. He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
Last year was his first year, and he played less than 60 games. Like, yes, and I have to reel myself in sometimes because I'm like, yeah, you had a season under your belt. No, you didn't. You had 60 games, and you didn't even play 60 games. So you're talking about 45 games that you're in. This guy hasn't even had a full 162. You know, so I have to reel myself back in. But you see the promise, you see the ability there in flashes. Now he just got to get consistent. And with him being able to adjust in game after getting struck out 3 times by those sliders that started off at the bottom of the zone and just tail off and strike it on just those little wussy ass little swings and strikeouts. He got more discipline. Obviously, Abreu or somebody talked to him and said, "Hey, this is how they're pitching you. It's gonna look juicy. It's gonna look like it's at the bottom of the zone and gonna tail out." And he had like a 1-2 count, if I'm not mistaken. And he was able to get back to either a 2-2 or 3-2 count before he got the base hit in his last at bat. Those adjustments are the ones that big time players make, and to see him make it so early and not even a full season in the bigs is a great thing. Thank you, Jose Abreu. Thank you, Yoel Moncada. Thank you, Tim Anderson, the guys who've gone through that, for talking with him and saying, "Hey, listen, here's what you need to do," and hats off to him for listening.
You know, I think one of the things I agree with you. I had to reel myself in too with Luis, and I think it's just we just got so excited because we see the player he's got the potential to become. You know, I think another stage of his development will be, I think the first part is he's got to learn how to lay off the slider. But the second thing he's got to do is that slider is going to catch that outside lower part of the zone. He's got to learn to take that pitch to right field. Because if you try to pull that pitch, all you're going to do is roll over on it and ground out to the left side. But once he learns to recognize that pitch and say, okay, it's a low and outside slider, but this one is going to be in the zone, I'm about to bang this sucker into the right center field gap. Once you see him start doing that consistently, Shawn, then we will know that this guy he's really there now. And I think it is going to probably take him another year to be able to get to that level. But, you know, this guy, he's learning kind of quick, man. And, you know, he has stopped with a lot of the silliness that we saw going on out in the outfield where he was just trying to catch, you know, everything and putting people in jeopardy. But, you know, he's definitely going to be a great talent to watch develop. You know, the other person I want to talk about, a couple of people, I'm still concerned with Grandal defensively behind the plate. He's not a great defensive catcher. And he plays. That's just completely uncalled for. And he's got a lot of pass balls. So I'm still concerned with him defensively and more comfortable with Zach Collins behind the plate from a defensive aspect. But I got to talk about Billy Hamilton and that throw he made in Saturday's night game where he threw a laser to the plate.
Hey, the
lasers! And I mean, it was just a great managerial move by Tony La Russa to bring him in as a defensive replacement for Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn's got a good arm, but he's not going to make that throw. And I think so much with Billy Hamilton, we're just thinking his speed. The dude has always had an arm. You know, he's always had a cannon out there, and he's only like 145 pounds. He's a little
soaking wet after dinner.
Right.
Soaking wet after dinner, that joker.
But that was an incredible, important throw by Billy Hamilton. I really think he's going to be a great pickup for them, and the White Sox are going to have a lot of decisions to make here when he comes off the list. I think Lurie Garcia is going to be the guy that goes, but we'll see.
I don't. I think Lurie will stay. I think because you can never have too many outfielders. Okay, I don't think you can ever have too many. You know, don't forget, like you said, Adam Engel's coming off soon. So he'll probably be get a lot of time in left field. Hamilton, and you have no problem because depending on where you put, he's probably if he needs to come in for a to run. Okay, now you can double steal. Double switch. Excuse me. So maybe Adam Engel made the last out. Okay, and then all of a sudden the first guy gets on who's not as fleet of foot, and we need that run. Well, then you can put Billy Hamilton in there and low, and you're not going to lose anything on the defensive side if he goes in for you have a double switch and he put him in left. So there's a lot of different things, and let's not forget Laurie's an infielder too. He's got an arm. When playing shortstop, you got to have an arm. So the White Sox are in a really good position. This is, again, we've said this before, and I'll say it again. And I'll continue to say it. This is something that we're not used to on the South Side. No. We're not used to having an abundance of talent, and not just talent, but talent that is multifunctional, where guys can play outfield and infield. Okay, and it's really I have to reel myself back a lot because I see what they can do, and I'm like, okay, they still got to play. They still got to play the game. They still got to grow. They still got to learn. Lubob's still got to play the whole season. Yo-Yo's got to show us that COVID. The COVID stuff is done. So many things, but man, it's an abundance of riches for us. Not just the position players, but also for in the bullpen, the starting rotation and the bullpen. That pitching staff is well put constructed from the starters to the bullpen. I'm going to disagree with you. I think I still want to see Kopech coming out of the bullpen. Give him some spot starts like you have. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I still want to see him coming out because I love him. Him the 7th inning, Crochet the 8th inning, and Hendricks the 9th inning. That's righty, lefty, righty. All throwing right around a buck. So I like that. And you know what? There's going to be plenty of time for him. Next year. And who knows? What if someone gets hurt? Lance Lynn's hurt. So that's why, he may be able to step in there. And then you can bring Ray up and put Ray back there into the bullpen. There's a lot of other things. I still want to wait on Dylan Cease. He was the man survivor. He's the guy that they didn't want in the trade in Texas. I think he's still got people talking about him. He just got to settle down. He's got phenomenal stuff. He just got to settle down. So, and then when Maya comes, you're right. You text me. Maya cannot mention Dane Dunning's name ever again until he has until he has a good outing against the White Sox. Until he has a good outing, because I'd have been pissed off. I'd have been fired to freak up too if I'm facing my former team. And he knows it's a business, but there's still a little some that you're going to reach down deep and you're going to find something to go out and have a great game against a team that just traded you, and he got shelled. And now he knows, because he knew. He's like, I got to face Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada, the league MVP, the reigning league MVP, and Jose Abreu, the Yerminator. Come on, man. That's a lineup, man. Let's not get it twisted. That's a lineup.
Yeah, he got shelled. And, of course, I had to call Maya because that's just what I do. She picked up the phone. You better not be calling me about Dane Dunning. It's like I was calling about Dylan C. She's like, yeah, right.
And here's one thing before we go. We'll talk about this later when we have Sox talk later in the show. You talked about Nicky Two Strikes. Mm-hmm. Listen to this. In his major league rank this season, okay, his contact percentage is 95.5.
Yeah.
It was last week or some point. I remember Steve Stone saying he'd only swung and missed once. Are you freaking kidding me? Swung and missed only once. Okay. In zone contact percentage. And for those of you, so when the ball's in the strike zone and he makes contact, it's 98.6%. That's first in majors, just like the contact percentage, 95.5 is first. Out of the zone contact percentage, 90.2%. That leads the majors. He's first. And 2-strike batting average, well, we know what. He's not calling Nicky 2 strikes for nothing. He leads the major leagues in the batting average with 2 strikes with a 4.09 average. This is the kind of guy every single freaking team needs at the bottom of the order to turn around, because the thing about it, it's so psychological, Jason, because now that he's batting 400 and you see it, you don't want to get to the top of that order. But now you don't want to get to Nick Madrigal because Nick Madrigal is going to get you to the top of the order.
That's right.
And that's a mind blow to a lot of pitchers, because This is literally 2 leadoff men, because once you get Nick Madrigal, he's going to sneak on somehow, some way with a blue pin, off the fist, broken bat over the second baseman, or he'll find a CNI single, like, son of a biscuit. Now we're back to the starting lineup, and that's what he does. That's what he does. I just want him to relax more. Maybe he needs to go to a masseuse like Deshaun Watson. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think he's definitely gotten better, man. And he's another guy. Just like we had to rein ourselves in about Lou Ball. It's the same thing with Madrigal. The dude only played 25, 30 games last year. But I just think we just get so excited because we see the potential of these guys. And we've been so desperate to get this team to start winning games
together.
We're being a little hard on them. And I know our guy Zoe he was exulting over the weekend over Nicky's performance. And I told you people to give him time. So shout out to our guy Matt Zoe.
Matt Zawoski, Southside Zoe.
That's right. You were right, Matt. You were right. I'm sorry.
The next top of the morning topic. Let's keep it moving. The Cubs, they fall to the Brewers 6-0. Man, Jake Arrieta was on point. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 punch outs. And you know what? The Cubs bat were dormant yet again. This Cubs team, it's feast or famine for these guys, and that's not a way to be. That's not a good plan for success. When you're feast or famine, when you're scoring 0 runs, and then you're scoring 14 runs, and then you're scoring 1 run, then you're scoring 13 runs. That's not a good recipe for success. They need to find a balance, and they need to start doing it quickly, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to start, you're not it's a lot easier to score 1 or 2 runs than it is 13 or 14. Those are anomalies for all intents and purposes, and you can't do that. If they can do it consistently, hey, fine, but they haven't shown us that, and you're putting a lot of pressure on your pitchers. And granted, they're getting paid a lot of money, but you're putting a lot of pressure on your starting pitchers and your bullpen. And your starting rotation isn't necessarily one of the best in baseball, and you might not want to put all that pressure on them by giving them such few run support.
Well, first, I want to give credit to Woodruff yesterday. I thought he and Arrieta were, going at it, just that was a great first 5 or 6 innings, just the two of them going back and forth. The thing that bothered me about the Cubs this weekend as I watched that series, because they were playing Milwaukee, and with me living in Wisconsin, it was perfect. The walks and the hits batters with the bases loaded. I mean, that's how Milwaukee basically won that game Saturday, because the pitching was walking people, and then they're walking in runs, and then you're hitting batters. And these weren't hit batsmen to get back at the Brewers for the stuff they were doing to Contreras. This was just bad pitching in clutch moments. And same thing yesterday. I think they walked in a run yesterday too. It was just really bad, man. You cannot have that, man. Arrieta pitched his heart out, and then the bullpen came in and just, oh my God, that 9th inning yesterday was just atrocious. So, as bad as the offense has been, it's now starting to affect the pitching. I don't know if it's because those guys feel they're under so much pressure that, man, there's no way you go out there and you score 14, 15 runs in game 1. And then yesterday you just looked absolutely awful. So I was very disappointed in what the Cubs did these last 2 games of this series. And, Ivan and I have discussed this a lot. And, unfortunately, I think you have to break this team up when it gets close to the All-Star break.
Whoa.
Yeah, we talked to Aldo, and I asked him the same question. I was like, what do you do? I asked him a question in a way, because he wanted Chris Bryant. I think Chris Bryant over Javi Baez is an obvious. Like, Chris Bryant healthy is this guy. Javi Baez healthy has always been that guy. Boom or bust, hit or miss, and unfortunately, it's been a lot of busts lately. So I mean, we talked about it last time, Jason. We think it's got to be both of them, but it's hard. You are down only 1. They kept you within 1 run for a majority of that ball game, and you're over here not able to muster up anything. And when you did have runners on, you still didn't produce at the plate. Mm-hmm. It's like you said. It's for me. It's a tale of 2 Cubs. Like they're either this or they're that, and it's typically that. You know what I mean? It's typically not being able to hit with runners on. Typically not being able to hit better pitching in the league.
Unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is the Cubs are going to end up doing something that the White Sox did way back that we all were mad at them about, and it was when they did the white flag trade. I got the feeling the Cubs are going to be, within about 4 games at a wild card spot as they get close to the trade deadline. And the fans are going to say, oh, no, we're only 4 games back, but you're really like 10 games back because of the way they play. And I just think the organization is going to have to make a tough decision. And it's not going to be popular with everybody, but I think you've got to trade those assets. I think they've got to rebuild their minor league system, just as the White Sox did. And you're going to have to trade. You're going to have to get some prospects, and you're going to have to suffer for about 2 or 3 years. And then you just hope that those prospects hit. And, I think Rick Hahn, I don't know if the guy's a genius or lucky, because all the prospects he got seem to be coming up and doing the job. And that never really happens. I mean, even Andrew Vaughn is starting to figure it out at the plate and sting the ball. So, I just think that's the route that the Cubs are going to have to take, unfortunately. And, it's disappointing. I was not expecting Arrieta to be as good as he's been this second go around with the Cubs, but the guy is obviously very comfortable here, and he's doing a good job for you. But it's tough when you're a pitcher where you ain't getting no run support.
I feel like it could be everybody, Shawn, Jason. I feel like it could be everybody. I really do. Like you said, 4 games back, but you're really, you're really looking up at a mountain. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. I really do.
Here's the issue. Focus on the process. Okay, don't worry about who's in front of you. Don't worry about who's behind you. Right? You focus every inning, every pitch, every inning, every game. Okay, and the results will take care of themselves. When you start worried about we got to get, we got to hit a 5-run homer. Okay, it's not happening. Worry about your bat. Worry about getting hits. And this is where discipline comes in. Here's where Rossi's got to say, hey, listen, don't worry about the outside noise. We're in freaking April. Okay, We're in freaking April. Who the freak gives a damn about the God bless the standings? Okay, because they have the talent to go on a 10-12 game winning streak. Okay, and that flips the whole division in a heartbeat. So focus on it's the process that they have to focus on, and that's where he's really got to instill in these guys. Don't worry about where you're at now. As long as you're getting your work in, and the process is being followed each and every day, your rituals, your habits, you're not gonna go 162-0. It's not. I don't think anyone. Can you double check for me, Ivan, and make sure? I don't know. Has anyone ever gone 162-0 in a Major League Baseball team? I don't know. I'm not sure. So
I have to look back in the 1800s.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe there was like a 62-0. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. All right. Yeah, check that out just so I can be for sure. But you're not gonna win all your games. Okay. But the process is what you have to stick to, and that process is what's going to get you, more wins than losses. Let's move on. This is a rough one, man. The last top of the morning topic. We'll go into the break on this one, man. Chicago Bear icon Steve Mongo McMichael has come out and said he has ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. He was interviewed by Jared Payton. I thought it was great that he allowed Jared to interview him, being that was his dad, his dad's teammate. And he's in great spirits. He got diagnosed, and he said, hey, he goes, I'm not going to be on TV anymore. He goes, I'm not going to be on the radio anymore. He goes, I just got to fight this thing. And unfortunately for him right now, there is no cure for Lou Gehrig's disease, and it's just only a matter of time. But I'll tell you what, he's going down as one of the most colorful of that 85 Bears team. I think he's one of the most underrated, or he might be the most underrated guy from that team as well. And he's one hell of a character and one hell of a storyteller. I got a chance to party with him a few times. That son-of-a-bitch can drink, and he's got stories for weeks.
When I saw the article, I had to do a double take, because so much false stuff that come out on the internet. It's like, there's nothing wrong with Steve McMichael. The guy was just on the radio a few months ago. And then, I looked at it again. It was on the Tribune. And then I read the TMZ story as well. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Just amazing what ALS has done to this guy's body. He was just diagnosed in February. And he's now here in April, he's paralyzed from the shoulders down. And, just to hear how his wife Misty has got to basically become a full-time caretaker, and people who are caretakers, they go through a lot too. Let's not forget about them as well. I was just stunned. You think a big, brawn, Steve McMichael, and to see this guy now be an absolute shell of himself and struggling the way he is, and hearing that the Bears bought him a specialty wheelchair so he can get around, and that his friends and family have raised $20,000 on a GoFundMe page to help offset the medical costs. This is Steve McMichael, man. I can only imagine what this is doing to him, just as, his pride, his manhood as well, to see. And, the quote, I thought that was the most taken from the article was when he said, I never imagined I'd be going out like this,
Yeah. That dude, you talked about living, and the one thing he said, which I think is so Mongo, he's like, he goes, I lived a great life. He goes, I didn't wait till I got sick to create a bucket list. You think of the crazy shit that guy's done in his life. We only know some of the stuff that he's done. There's no social media around back in that day. So you can only imagine. And like I said, I partied with him a couple times, and that son of a bitch got some stories. From the rest, and we're talking, not just talking 85 Bears. We're talking with once he was in he was wrestling in the WWE, WWF. Dude, his life, married Deborah McMichael, and she was a gorgeous woman.
She was like Mrs. America or something, right?
Yeah,
she's
like
a
beauty pageant went down in Texas.
Yeah.
And he was, man, he's lived a good life, man. And yeah, it is sad to see him go out like this, but you know what, he's fighting it every way. And like you said, he lived life to his fullest. And this is an example and a reason why you live your life to the fullest. Because at the end, you don't know how you're gonna go out, and it's much better because now he's got so many memories that he can sit back and just laugh about and smile about and smirk about, while this disease is really gaining control of his body, as opposed to regrets, saying, man, I could have done this. I could have done this. I should have done this. He's one character, man. And it's unfortunate. I bought a shirt. Jerry Payton had a thing that said hashtag Team McMichael or Team Mongo, I think it was. And I spent the $35, man. And as soon as I read the article, I didn't even get off the article. I just went in, I bought it because, growing up, he was special to me. That defense was awesome, the 85 Bears team. And when I got to meet him, and hung out with him a few times, dude, that dude is just he is so freaking down to earth and cool, man. It was a no-brainer. Hey, but Jason, listen, we got to go, Papa. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you online and what you got going today.
Hey, you can find me at Jay Coyden on Twitter, JayCoyden. And coming up tonight on What's Up, Cuz, with my cousin Lance Urban, we got your guy, Ken Davis. He's coming on at 7 o'clock because we're going to talk some Bears in the draft. And Ken's got thoughts on that. So we got to see what he thinks the Bears should do in the draft coming up this Thursday. And then we got, I think we're getting E.C. Hill, a Chicago native. Yeah, I think we're getting Coach E.C. We're trying to work that out now to get her time in, but we're going to try to get EC and Ken Davis. And EC's going, EC got stories, man. EC got, and I was in a lot of them with her, so this is going to be very fun.
Hey, if you need Ken's intro from SportsZone Chicago from Shawn and Maya in the morning, don't worry, Ivan can let you use it. If you haven't seen it,
I'm gonna download it. I was already going to download it.
So I'm gonna get out of here before Ken comes on. I'm gonna have Ken on tonight. So it's gonna be a fun show, man. So check us out starting tonight at 6 o'clock. What's up, cuz? Me and Lance Urban, along with our guests, Ken Davis and possibly E.C. Hill. So everybody tune in.
Excellent, man. Thanks a lot, Papa. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Guys, we gotta take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, our guy, my man, Ozzie Guillen Jr. Oh, excellent. I just got good news. He's got a little bit of time for us. That's awesome. He's a busy guy, and I'm glad we got a whole segment. We're gonna bring him and talk a little White Sox baseball on the other side of the break. And don't forget, we're gonna welcome our guy Ken Davis. He's the host of That Davis Show and new host of the Under Center podcast on NBC Sports Chicago. So he's coming up, and we're gonna introduce and have a great conversation with Ozzie Guillen Jr. on the other side of the break. So keep it locked right here, folks. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Take off the glasses, please. You look familiar. You got a record?
Yes, sir, he's got a record. He's got a great record. The Black Rooster, 13 KOs. Paco Aguilar, El Gallo Negro. He's got a great right uppercut.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Swinging a line drive, fair down the right field line. That'll score at least one as Robertson is in. It's a double for Colton Wong to drive in yet another run.
The action on the Brewers radio network in a 6-0 win over the Cubs on Sunday. Brandon Woodruff outdueling Jake Arrieta. Woodruff gave up 2 hits, struck out 8, and walked 2 in his first win in 11 career appearances against Chicago. For the Cubs, Arrieta pitched 6 innings of 2-hit ball, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Milwaukee led it 1-0 after the first and piled on with a 5-run top of the 9th. The White Sox doubled up the Rangers 8-4. Michael Kopech struck out a career-high 10 over 5 innings. Jose Abreu homered and drove in 3 runs. NBA tonight, second straight for the Bulls at Miami. On Saturday, the Heat with a 106-101 win. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
That is the intro for my guy, man, the host of that Davis Show on the Undercenter podcast, the one you find it at That's Davis on Twitter, man. What's up? That's Ken Davis. What's up, Papa? How are you, Ken?
It's been a hectic weekend, man. Well, what are you up to, man? How are you doing? It's
man, I'm
it's
great,
been good though. Our team swept. All right, so there's been some great things, and then we got the draft coming up, but it's been busy, and this week is gonna get busy. So I'm just locking in and locking down, man.
Yes. Hey, you know what? And it reminds me, the White Sox, they're like bruh man from the 5th floor. they got a 4-game winning streak, and I love it, man. And
feels good. And look at Kopech.
Oh, dude, our next guest, we're going to talk about that because you know what, he likes Kopech, but he's very his baseball IQ is off the charts, which is why we love having him on. And the way he dealt, and you could just see Kopech it looked like he was toying with those guys. Like he'd strike him out like, yeah, okay, great.
I guess
okay, another one. I gave up a home run. Okay, well, let me strike out the rest of the guys. You know,
right.
I believe it was 8 out of the first 9 batters he freaking struck out. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me?
Like 10 and 4 innings.
That's ridiculous. Well, we're going to talk about him a little more, but let's bring out our next guest, man. He's a good friend of the program. Hey, you've seen him on here. He's been rocking with us for a few years, man. He's a good he's one of the hosts of Levy the Baseball. You can find him on Twitter at Guillen Jr. Man, let's bring him out. Ozzie Guillen Jr. Ozzie, what's up, Papa? How are you? You're on mute.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry. What's up? No, it's going well. I hope everything's going well with you guys. You guys should be happy. White Sox fans should be rolling. They obviously are in a good roll.
Yeah, they are, man. And that pitcher performance yesterday that Ken just mentioned, that was just ridiculous, dude. It looked like he was toying. He was a man among boys yesterday. And, you know, he gave up one, that home run. And it was like, okay, no problem. I'll just strike you out the next time you're up. But in the process, I'm going to strike out everybody else till I get to you.
Well, I don't like using the word pitching performance because I'm old school baseball. I only use the word pitching performance if you actually throw more than 5 or 6 innings. But for today's terms, I will let you go and use pitching performance.
So his outing. We'll go outing. His outing yesterday.
You know what though? It's people in the South Side have been wanting the Sox to go analytical. On the Twitter, they believe that this new matchup of having guys go shorter innings and that might be more valuable to them. This might be their best opportunity to do that. Okay. With all due respect to Giolito, to Dallas Keuchel, to Mr. Lance Lynn, to pretty much everyone in the bullpen, Michael Kopech is the best pitcher the White Sox have seen in the 2021 season, not only on results, but just when you're looking at him from a perspective of how he's attacking the zone. It's probably the best story so far, other than Jermaine Mercedes, on how strong this kid has come back to pitch for the White Sox, either as a starter or as a bullpen guy. I think that his limit for innings is going to be something of a conversation later on. But if he gives you those 3 innings in the first inning, or it gives it to you the last 3 innings of the game, he's coming to attack the zone, and he is focused. And for the first time ever, I think that I am buying into the Michael Kopech, myth, because I didn't before his injury. This kid could be one of the best pitchers to ever wear a baseball uniform if he keeps improving the way that he's throwing the ball.
Whoa.
You said
he's that nasty. He's that good.
I love hearing you say that. I'm with you. I feel like the hype train got out really early, and it was like you're anointing. You're anointing somebody. I mean, because I had friends that had to go there the first night he pitched, and you're anointing someone, and then he got hurt, and it's hard to say, oh, he's still going to be this person because he hasn't proven that he was going to be that person initially. So when you say that, it's refreshing because he's well. Let me ask you this real quick, Ozzie Jr. When you look at him, you kind of said this. Would you use him this year and keep him as a versatile tool? A little bit of what Tony was talking about on Friday after Cease's pitch was kind of like, I don't want to blame Cease and I don't want to say anything right now, but basically you have to produce. And to me, I started thinking after Kopech stepped in early in that week that it's a chance that he may knock off Cease. Would you supplement him for Cease, or would you keep him kind of what he is, where you can use him, as you said, in the front, or you can use him at the back end?
So the problem is that he's got an inning limit. Okay, we don't know what that limit is. I'm predicting 100. He's only thrown 100 plus innings twice in his career. I think it was like 17 and 18 in Double-A, like low minor leagues. But he's only done it twice. So I know that they're scared about his injury and how he's coming back. Again, I think those are all things that they need to have conversations within like an organization and when you're going to save him for. But I think it's April. Okay, it was a great spot start. I think it's a combination of where you see Cease struggling more, okay? Because if you get Kopech 1 through 3 in the 3 innings, can Cease come in inning number 4 and give you 2 innings and 3 innings and kind of just extend that? I also think this also falls again on the other starters. Keuchel cannot keep going 4 or 5 innings, okay? Giolito cannot keep going 4 or 5 innings. The more innings the starters throw, 7 innings, 6 innings outings, the more you can save Michael Kopech, okay, for big games. And when I say big games is him getting a start in August, okay, where he can go, 3-5 innings on a game that it's a must-win game, for example. So I think you have to be smart on how you use it. I think he's being used a lot in the bullpen, coming out to hold leads, okay, because he can extend, a 3-inning outing because of his ability. But I think that's where you start predicting and saying, okay, can Cease get away out of that really bad first inning he usually has, or is he going to be better for us in a 4th inning? Okay, and then that's a whole other issue with Cease. His last outing, and Cease is my boy, but it was concerning. You have a 5-run lead against the biggest strikeout team in Major League Baseball, and the Texas Rangers. They swing at everything. Just do what Michael did. Throw the ball on the plate. If you hit it out, I got a 5-run lead. Those are things that when you're in the big leagues, you need to learn how to battle in a sense that you cannot nitpick every pitch. And that's what I like about Kopech, okay, that he's pitching like Mark Burley, Lance Lynn. I'm just throwing it down there. His stuff is just that nasty of attacking the zone. I hate guys like Giolito pitches, like Cease, nitpicking. I'm going to hit the corner. I'm going to pitch this 1-2-1. If I can strike you out in 4 pitches, I'm not going 3-2. That, to me, even in today's baseball, is even easier to do because guys are hitting 210 and everybody strikes out. So you're like, here you go. Hit a home run with a 5-run lead. You should be doing that. And Cease has not been able to do that. And we see Kopech, just attacking guys. And that's something that you have to do in the big leagues in order to be successful.
I'm glad you said that, and I want to get your take on it. Kopech was one of the guys, and I had been very critical of this White Sox team, and it seemed to me that at a point, especially early on, that they didn't come out with a chip on their shoulder. They didn't come out to prove it. I felt that they had read their too many press clippings. They had a lot of individual awards, MVP, Golden Gloves, Silver Sluggers, all these other things, but that don't mean shit because you haven't won a playoff series as a group. I didn't see that sense of urgency. I didn't see a sense of focus. I'm starting to see a little more now. Okay, my biggest and Ivan loves to tease me because I'm on Lubab hard. Okay, because Lubab's so freaking talented, and I want him to be in a spot where there's like, I just walk him. Just walk. You're walking in a run. It's been done before with Barry Bonds, and we're not going to pitch to this guy. He has that kind of talent, and he's not living up to it. But I also have to reel myself in because he's still a rookie. He hasn't played 162 games, and my excitement for his potential and what I see in him is exacerbated because, all right, he played a season already, but it was only 60 games. He hasn't even played a full season. But I still don't see that eye of the tiger that you're trying. When you're a competitor trying to knock off the Twins and somebody at the top of the division, there's a look, there's a way, there's a feel that I should see that I'm not seeing. Talk to me about that.
But wait, he allows Eloy's foolishness to continue all the time.
No, I get on Eloy
He
too.
says that about Lubab, but he
get on Eloy all
he
the
says
time.
nothing about Eloy's foolishness all the time. But Lubab's the problem. Let me continue.
No,
he wanted Lubab to smile more last year. This is what he said. He needs to be out there smiling when he's out there playing. I'm like, dude, that's how he gets down. But go ahead. Let me stop. Let me back up because
I get on Eloy too. Don't get me wrong. I get on Eloy. But go ahead.
So I think that when you're having, I think that there's a maturity line that happens in the game of baseball of when you can have fun, but then you have to start taking things seriously. Okay. And there's a catalyst in this team that no one talks about. Okay. And that's the injury factor. Okay. Guys that go down for basically nothing. Okay. Not like an Eloy injury. Guys that are going in because, my hamstrings are tired. Okay, this is a young team. This is not, you're not 38 and I need to take a couple days off because, I'm exhausted. Like example, Lance Lynn threw a lot of innings, needs a day of a rest. I get that one, but there's a couple, and again, this is where Kopech kind of rises up, and even Jermaine Mercedes, what he's been able to do. But Giolito's last outing, and I know the White Sox fans are obsessed with him. He's a Cy Young, he does this. He goes in and has a great outing, which is Beaver. Okay. His stuff was really good and really competitive that day. I want to see a White Sox team win games when they're not at 100%. Okay? Because that's the difference. If you're 100%, you're gonna win. Like you're at 100%, you're gonna score 10 off of guys, you're gonna have great at-bats, you're gonna roll over people. But I want to see when you are at 75% and you're not throwing your pitch for strikes. What are you going to do to battle? Okay. In that situation, that was a Giolito what I'm talking about in Boston. Like he couldn't figure it out. Okay, he couldn't battle it. That's what guys that win Cy Youngs do. Of like, how good am I when I'm only at 60%? Okay, how good is Moncada at 50%? How good is Grandal? How good? So those are the type of situation. Because April, guys, we're fresh. April, we're not even 60 games in. So I want to see when it's June, July. Okay, and then there's a lot more innings played and you're a lot more tired and you haven't had a day off in 15 days. That's the step that you need to take. And then obviously the Twins have been playing horrible baseball, but like, how do you beat the Indians? How do you beat the Twins? How do you say, okay, I'm going to take a commanding 6, 7, 8 game lead in the division and take it to the next step? Then that's when you start worrying about playoffs and like who's going to pitch where. But I think that's the next step they need to take as a team. And I think there's two guys that in the book, they're still rookies in Jermaine Mercedes, okay, and Michael Kopech, that when they go out there, that's their demeanor, okay? That's their demeanor of, and I said it the other day, people are talking about Kopech starting. I want to see Liam Hendricks in Chicago at a home game in the summer. I think that he had a little wake-up call. He's no longer in Oakland. They hit the ball to center field. He thought that ball was going to be caught. I said, no, buddy, you're not at the Coliseum no more. This is a cell.
500 feet straight away center like Oakland.
And it's April. So in the summer, it's a shoebox. Okay. So again, like he's already been paid. So like, how do you build to win games? We've seen, I think, a kid that Obviously, a lot of people were hating on him because of his defense, because he's not great defensively. He's actually not very good at all. But he's a great hitter. Nick Madrigal, he's doing his job. So it's about guys doing their jobs, but then putting the team together to get wins. That's Tony's job, and he's done a great job in that sense. I think if this team 2 years ago and Tony was managing it, C stays in the game and try to go, 5-6 innings, but you don't deserve to stay in the game. Like, you have runners on, the time run's coming up. We got to get you out. He's here to win games. That's something people kind of don't understand, that he's not here to test Vaughn out in left field. Yeah, Vaughn, you're great. You're out there. You're a prospect. If you go 0 for 12, you're going to be benched, buddy. Okay? Like, this is – you're going to stay in the lineup because of what you're producing. And we talked about this. I'll give you an example. I think I have a list of Ozzy's biggest mistakes as a manager. Okay? And there's a mistake that no one talks about that I always bring up. And it's 2006, his center fielder, Brian Anderson. Okay? BA was given the job, and then no one questioned him on it. He was like, here it is. No competition. You're going to get 600 at bats. And BA struggled. Okay. He struggled. Had BA maybe, played half the year and had some competition and hits 50 points higher, we might be in the playoffs. Okay. But he had no competition. But since he was a prospect, Ozzy just played him out every single time. So that's what they don't get when they're like asking for Vaughn. Vaughn's a prospect. He's on this. Prospect doesn't mean it. People on Twitter that talk about prospects are like being hot in high school. It might not, you're not I'm likely to succeed in high school. That's a prediction. That's not a fact. So in the White Sox, if you're realistic, are they going to be the only team in the history of baseball that every prospect they have is going to be a humongous hit? So it's like, you have to see of what you have, and you have to go with guys that are playing good baseball. And at the end of the day, win games. I don't care about silver sluggers, all-star games. That's great for the players that make money. And when your team's really bad and you don't win, that's what you like go on. Like, oh yeah, we have an MVP, we have a Cy Young. When your team is good, you only care about W's. That's it. You care about wins. And that's where I think the White Sox need to focus on that. Like, they're getting there of like, let's start worrying about the W more about than anything else. And I think they're making little baby steps there. Not there yet, but they're on their way.
Guys, we're joined by Isaac Ian Jr. He's the habitual line stepper for La Vida Baseball, talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Listen, let me ask you this, Ozzy. All right, when you brought up kind of the ticky-tack injuries that the players are having on the team, I want to know, is that a Sox thing or is that a Major League Baseball thing?
That's a Major League Baseball thing.
Okay. And
you
then,
know why?
And then go ahead.
Paid. No, finish the question. Sorry.
No, because I get what you even said, because these guys are getting paid way ahead of time when they would have gotten paid in the past. But then with the Lucas Giolito, Lucas is a grown man, so it always falls on him as a grown man. But would it, and I'm not saying that you should have done this, would he have been in that situation with the changeup not being effective against Boston if James McCann was at the backstop, because probably he would have noticed that earlier and went to something else?
Well, you're the pitcher. Shake off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You should know early on, and that's when you become a one pitch guy. Okay, you got to be like Joanne Santana. Changeup means your changeup's never off. If you try to be another pitcher, I'll give you an example. Shane Bieber. Okay, last year the pitch that made him the Cy Young, the 60-game Cy Young, was the cutter. When you're looking at the numbers, he hasn't even thrown it now. So your scouting report, you're up there saying he's going to throw a cutter, and he doesn't even throw it. You're like, what the, And he's been doing that all through April, and people are still waiting for the cutter, and he's just slicing teams up. So in the age of information is how you're going to change it. So unless you're like Mariano Rivera, which again is only one inning, it's easy. If Lucas Giolito goes up there thinking every single at bat, my out pitch is a changeup, what do you think the other team's thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, Lucas is coming here to change up. Well, if that changeup is off by a little bit, you're going to get that ball's going to be hit 700,000 feet, especially now in baseball, because a changeup is a great pitch when perfectly executed. When it's not, it's a beach ball. So for him, it's like, how do you start competing with like a secondary pitch, a third pitch? My changeup is not great. And then you only use that changeup in a situation when you're like, okay, here we go. The other game he won, he threw the changeup like 9 times to get guys out. I'm like, who's the hitting coach on the other team? This guy's an idiot. Every single thing was like, sit on the changeup. His fastball's not going to be. So that's another conversation on how guys analyze. But I think for him, that's a growth. With the McCann thing, I think Zach Collins has gotten way better behind the plate. Okay, I think Grandal's issue is not calling games; is everything but calling the game. I think his issue is blocking, the interference. He's trying to frame everything. But I think that's a situation where the pitching coach has to go out and says, "Hey, what's up? We got to change the plan." Okay, they're sitting on this. Your changeup's not there, and that's something that when you're in the bullpen, when you're a top horse, when you're a big dog pitcher, you come out and you say, "My changeup's not working today. We're going, this is what we're going with," and your game plan changes because you really don't know how you feel until you come out of the bullpen.
Until you're warmed up, yeah.
Until you're warmed up, and you're like, "Ooh." I've seen guys that come out and say, "I'm only going to throw fastballs," and you're like, "What?" He goes, "My arm hurts. I don't feel good." And you see him throw 5, 6, 7 innings. That's what veteran pitchers do. That's the point on that. And the point I'm like, when we're talking about games played, okay, now the average game of big-time baseball players is like 130 games. Okay, but if you could give your team those extra 10, 15 games, think about what it might do with a W column. Okay, so there's a difference between taking days off and then you having to land on the DL because it's okay to take off 2 weeks or a week. Okay, for me to land on the DL, in my opinion, I'm like, I can't move. Okay, and it's an injury that, like a Tim Anderson, a hamstring, that if I keep playing, it's going to keep hurting me. But if I'm like just sore, I need to play through that until I get on the IL, okay? Or if I can recover. If you can't come back from an injury in 1 or 2 days, that means you go on the IL. So that number in Major League Baseball before, it was they used to use it against you. Okay, now you only play 110 games. They don't care. You strike out 300 times. They don't care. So players are like, I'm going to be smart on my end, and I'm only going to play when I'm 100% because they're not using it against me. So I think that's a part where, but I think winning teams, you have to have your lineup there as much as possible. Because again, one guy in this White Sox lineup, it changes everything. You take out Tim Anderson, lineup looks very different.
We saw what happened when we took him out.
Correct. You take on Moncada, everyone hates him, but you take on Moncada, then it depends. So again, you need to have a full lineup as many games as possible to grind it out, and then kind of fill in those taking a rest days. Danny Mendick looks great right now playing once a week, but you play Danny Mendick 5 days in a row for 3 months, you're going to be having a different tune and when you have to talk about. So it's staying healthy. So for Tim Anderson, I said it in the beginning of spring training, what's your advice on Tim? I said for Tim is staying healthy. He's already proven everything. If he's healthy, he's going to be top 5 average. He's going to hit. He just needs to learn how to stay healthy, which is, again, it takes time and a little bit of luck. But I think it's a combination. I don't buy into the McCann thing. Like, I think that it would have been great for us to keep him. But again, we made a move when we had a great catcher and brought Grandal in. For whatever reason the front office did, now he's got to be the guy. He's got to be the catcher.
Listen, you mentioned, staying healthy in 130 games. Stoney was talking yesterday, and I had said this before, and I'm like, stop listening. He obviously listens to Shawn and Maya in the morning. I said, one of the things that I said is that this team, they can destroy 3, 4, and 5 pitching. You go up with, you're big boys. Okay. You might get, you're dealing with aces. Okay. And Shane Bieber, he got your number. Hey, he's got a lot of people's number. Okay. But all of a sudden you get to number 2, maybe number 2, you might get to, but number 3, number 4, number 5, this team can destroy 2, 3, 4, and 5 pitchers in that starting rotation. And I think that's where they can get a lot of their wins. And that's why I feel it's so important for them to stay healthy and for them to play as damn near every day, because you imagine you win 60 to 80% of those 3, 4, 5 games, man. All you gotta do is split the games you're pitching against 1s and 2s, and man, you're at the top of the division. And I think they have to realize that they need to play more consistently, because truth be told, baseball is not a taxing sport. It's not a ultra physical sport. So to have days off, it's more mental than physical, in my opinion.
I think that it is. You're going to get a little tired depending on how good of a shape you are, how many innings you played. And again, it's being smart. If your team's up by 7 runs, tell them, hey, Tony, pull him out, let the guy get some rest in his legs. Again, that's the part where I feel like the White Sox haven't made that jump. A 5-run lead is not a safe lead for them. That's why we saw Tony bunting. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's not confident enough that bullpen can hold a lead or where we're going to go or the starting pitcher. That's the difference, okay? They had a saying, like the White Sox in 05, and that's the team that people know the most, but I believe this in any team. If you go out and you strike first and you're playing with the lead, you're playing way different baseball than when you're playing without the lead. And we've seen that in the bunt rule, okay, which I think the rule is unfair, is the teams that get to hit first okay, with a runner on second, their winning percentage is like double for the other team. Why? Because mentally, when you're down as a baseball, it's a different approach. If you're up by 2 or tie game, your approach is way different. You're more aggressive. When you're down, you're kind of pressuring a little bit more. You're trying to make things happen a lot more. So for the Sox, it's when you're playing teams like the Rangers, this is the first series they've done it. Okay, now they're going to have the Tigers, which are kind of in the same boat as them. You're whooping on them. Okay, they're a weaker team. Okay, we're going to whoop on you. And then we're going to worry about battling the teams that we have to battle, the teams that you know you're going to have to be in close games and teams that might take 2 out of 3 very easily from you. Those are the games where you battle against the Shane Beavers, like Shawn said. But like everybody else that you should whoop on, you should be putting whoopings on. Like, and that's when you become a divisional champ. Again, playing 500 baseball. Bobby Cox used to say all the time, whoop on your division and play really well, play 500 ball against everybody else. Or whip on the weaker team, because if you go in and you lose 2 out of 3 versus Texas, you might need those 2 wins later on from a weaker opponent. So this week they did the job, and they got the Tigers coming into town. Again, a team that I think they're weaker than them in the division. That they should say, put pedal to the metal and grind it out. And that's where you take when you get a 5, 6, 7 game lead, and that's when you get that killer instinct of we're here, we're gonna whoop on you. That's more fun than dancing, than saying that we're tough, than saying anything. When you become that team that you're whooping on people, okay, then you become like, oh my God, these guys are legit. Like when they come into town, like they're really, really scary. And that's where you're at. That's why I think with Kopech, I'm getting a lot more respect for him because he's coming in and he's doing his job. Okay, he's just mowing guys down. He's not phased. He's not talking about it. Okay, he's not saying much. He's just going out there and doing his job. And that's where I think that you get that myth becomes a reality. And that's where the team is at right now. I still laugh, man. People are still, Tony comes out with lineups and people are still talking about who should have been the manager and who shouldn't have been the manager. And it's like, we're almost done with April. We're still, caught up on this. And again, right now, the White Sox are in a hard position because depending on how our offense goes, they might make a move for a left fielder. And that's still in the works, I think. And everybody in baseball knows that. And, you're looking as another team to say, maybe we look and offer something for them for one of the younger Sox players because, there's only so many spots in the infield and in the outfield to play. Can we get a steal from the White Sox because they're looking for a left fielder? So again, a lot of things are in play for this team right now.
Look, let me ask you this real quick on what you just said. And you brought up something I always say. For some reason, people think all these guys are going to hit, which is impossible. They're not going to hit. When you're looking at this team now, let's just say someone does come and offer them a left fielder for a player. What player are you willing the most to give up? Like you don't think he's going to necessarily hit?
I'm not even about hitting. I think I'll give you an example right now. And White Sox Twitter was all over it. We won that trade. We won the trade because Dane Dunning got hit around by a great offensive team. Dane Dunning was stud. 2 days away. I'm just saying there was a fly ball to left field. I don't even know what that guy was doing. He just a couple of misplayed balls that could happen to the Sox with Pantera making the error. The Rangers just don't have a plan. And I would have just sat there and let Cease walk everybody. These guys are swinging at everything. That's another conversation of bad baseball. But when you look at Dunning's numbers, okay, and what he can project for the Rangers, unless the White Sox win the World Series this year, the Rangers won that trade.
Totally.
Okay, I don't care what anybody says. Okay, I'll give you an example. When Freddie Garcia came in the White Sox in 2004, okay, we gave up Michael Morse, the shortstop, had a really good baseball career in the big leagues. Okay, the White Sox did 2 things. Obviously, Freddie wasn't as old as Lynn in his career wise, but not only did we re-sign Freddie, but he got the team a ring. So losing Moore as a shortstop really wasn't an issue because you paid for that. It's like the Cubs with Chapman. Okay, you lost Glaber, okay, but you got a ring. You have to give that up. So the White Sox went and gave up a player that will probably pitch in the big leagues for the next 10 years for that ring. So when you're making that move is, okay, who am I bringing here for how long and who am I giving up? If it's just eating up a contract and it's a money situation, that's fine. But when you're giving up a prospect, the Cease, okay, I think Ronaldo Lopez right now, people don't really want him. So it's going to be for a lesser player. But somebody, I think that, I'll give you an example. I think that if you offer the Rangers Lopez for like their, for a position player, let's say an outfielder, they would consider it because it's an arm and they don't have any. So I think that a player that I wouldn't touch right now, today, I'd say Kopech right now, today, and that's probably the guy everybody's calling about. But to be honest with you, everyone that's not in the starting lineup for me, I'm considering is a movable piece because, Vaughn, they think he's going to be the future first baseman. Like everybody's got him penciled in. I was like, yeah, when you replace the future first baseman, unless he stays on as the DH and the production that he has, you have to replace 130. Okay. So like how big of a jump you are, like that's what people are talking about the rebuild. Like you're not in a rebuild mode. You have to bring those numbers today. They're running it with Eloy. They're trying to find out Eloy, and they're lucky, right? The guy right now that has the White Sox in this race, okay, today is the Germinator. Okay. Because the Germinators produced for Eloy and Abreu and everybody else. If the Germinator was the Germinator, the guy they thought that they had when they brought him up for that weekend, the Sox would be in fourth place. I truly believe that. But he's been able to step up of carrying that weight of the team. So I think right now, if they make the right deal, okay, if you're bringing in the right left fielder and you're going to move stuff around, because remember, Eaton's only signed for 1 year. So can you move somebody to the left and make him a right fielder? Peralta, a Santander from the Orioles. Like, what are you going to do? Because if you don't make a trade for somebody, you're still signing a right fielder for next year. So that guy might come in the trade. You might have to give up a Madrigal. You might have to give up somebody in your group to make that happen. That's where they need to be smart and say, who's the guy that's going to be the least impactful to our winning now, but that we're going to have the best success with long term because we won this trade.
Yeah, looking at Dunning, coming into the game in his 3 starts, he was in 14 innings. He hadn't allowed a run in his prior 14 innings coming into that game on Friday. He was 1-0 with a .6 ERA and 16 strikeouts. Dude was dealing.
But people are funny because people are like, "Oh, that's the White Sox. They didn't want." I said the Rangers probably called for Dunning.
Yeah,
Kopech was at home. People didn't even know he was going to play baseball.
Maya was mad when they took. She goes, "Why didn't they take Cease?" I'm like, "Because they didn't want Cease. They wanted Dunning. They want Dunning."
And it's like we've been in that situation before. The Nationals give us Giolito. The Sox obviously saw in a guy that you're like, I can fix this guy, and that's usually how trades happen. Jose Contreras, okay, Ozzie Guillen, again, never given much credit to what credit is due, front office stuff work, but they were looking for a pitcher, and Ozzie in 2003, he had Jose Contreras as pitches, meaning the Marlins destroyed him in the playoffs because he was tipping his pitches. And Ozzie's belief, once talking to Don Cooper, was if we fix this guy from tipping his pitches, he'll be once again the guy that he was in Cuba. Okay, so let's get him a low-hanging fruit, which at the time was money for the Yankees. They were done on him, and they brought him in and said, if we fix this guy, he's going to be our guy. And they did. They made a move for him. Same thing with Freddie Garcia. They thought that he was done in Seattle. So they brought guys that they can work with. The White Sox did that with Giolito. They traded for Giolito because Washington thought Giolito was done. They're like, this guy, we can't fix him. He was a prospect. He's a head case. We can't work with him. And they moved him. So, that might be the situation for somebody with Cease, because when you see Cease throwing, you're like, man, this guy's nasty. Why can't he figure it out? And that's where teams start to make moves and say, okay, I can work with this guy. Maybe, a Lopez, if he has the velocity there, I can make him better. I can fix his issue. So those are the pieces the White Sox need to look at and say, okay, what can I get in return, and try to make, if they are going to make a move, because right now I think that they're going to, stay with what they have. But if you're down the race and you're there, you need to start thinking about this year and not thinking like, oh, we're going to be good in 4 years for the next 4 years, so we're going to be here. That's a huge mistake, which I applaud the Cubs, okay, because everyone in Chicago who's a Cubs fan, a White Sox, everybody was like, the Cubs are going to be in it for the next 6 years. They're going to go to 5 World Series, and every year we're going to be in the race. And it's like
those are drunk, silly Cub fans.
You went to 1 World Series. No, they struck. Hey, hold on. Here's the mistake though. Last year the Sox were guaranteed the playoffs. Okay, when you're in the playoffs, I don't understand why they didn't go and make a move and say, when you're in the playoffs, you're in the playoffs. Anything can happen. Right. So you strike and you go after it. You cannot, if the Cubs and when they made the move for Chapman, if they say, oh no, we can't give up Glaber because we're going to be competing for the next couple of years, I don't think it's the right move. Let's not make a trade. They don't win the World Series. So if you're in the hunt, you can't think like, oh, what's going to happen in 3 years? You need to make the move and say, we're here. Okay, we need to compete. And here's the other part. Everybody else in the division is getting better. All right, we're seeing that with the Royals. The Tigers are not as bad as they said they were. Okay, the Indians are kind of in there, like the best pitching in baseball. They just can't hit. So like the division is kind of like in this weird world of like you're not guaranteed the next 5 years to be the divisional champs. So the White Sox need to really look at it and say, okay, when do we make the right move to get this team if this really is a team that's in the playoffs? Because once you get into the playoffs, man, anything can happen.
But you don't think they made the right moves? You get Lance Lynn because I think in that
they wanted a veteran. They wanted a veteran guy. I still don't know. They didn't believe in Dunning. Dunning should have pitched that playoff game, a complete game. If his name would have been Lance Lynn, they would have left him in the whole time. But they said, "Oh, this kid can do it," but he's been doing it the whole time. So they weren't. They didn't have the confidence in him. That's why Rick Renteria is no longer the manager, or Don Cooper, the pitching coach.
He had been pitching like that the entire season.
That's why Ozzie Guillen is a World Series champion and other people are not. You do not change what you've been doing all year long.
Yes, who brung you?
Go get him.
He had been doing that the whole year. It made no effing sense to. It infuriated me so much. I'm a Dunning guy, and I know that the Rangers came from him, but I thought he had something. All right, where it was like, I like this kid. But look, I'll say this too. I think most of us Sox fans put 05 on your pops and that era. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure some people just don't know. I'm even going with the pitching, the times where he had the innate ability to know he needed to make a move. And it was like, how did he know? I think most of us get you. And I'm just letting you know, he was the outlier of.
In 04, you look at the team in 04 to 05 on paper.
Yeah, okay? They were bombers, and then they went to a small ball team.
They went and said, I want guys here that are here to win. Okay. Yeah. And then they try to find fits for guys that are better defensively. I can make better moves. Okay. And when they were in the trade deadline, they wanted to bring in a big bat, like a Carlos Delgado or a bigger bat. And Ozzie said, this is going to ruin the chemistry and take away at bats from other people. Okay. We don't need that. We need a guy off the bench because we really don't have anybody. So unless Carlos Delgado is willing to come here and be off the bench, I don't think that this is the right spot for him. Okay. At the moment, I think the Sox need to realize that of like what their next move is, because again, for the Dunning move, okay, in the playoffs, had they pitched him, I don't know if they're going to win or lose, but they have a better chance. Okay. The Sox made a trade for Lynn because they're not confident in Dunning from a maturity standpoint. Okay. So you could be the Indians, for example, and be a really young staff, because the Indians are all kids. Plesac, Zavali, like they're all young guys. They didn't go in and sign a veteran guy. The White Sox went and signed 2 veteran guys. Okay, there's something to say on that on paper. Like, yeah, Lance Lynn's on our team. Yeah, Lance Lynn's on the end of his career. So it really, really has to work out. And that's where I think with Kopech, with them, that we don't know what he's going to become. I know what Lance Lynn's going to become. So that like taking it to the next level of like for the next 5-6 years, you have that in Kopech. So that's like why teams are going to be calling about him. And that's what Cease brings is so intriguing of like, what could he be? Okay, is he going to be a 500 pitcher? Or is he going to be a guy that's going to be elite like Giolito? Giolito, we didn't know what we had in him until 2 years ago. And then he's kind of been building up every single year on that. So that's when the White Sox, if you go veteran, okay, compared to putting in a guy who's a prospect moving forward, it's where you do the measuring. So again, if Dunning was on this staff, he'd be Lynn or he'd be Keuchel. Keuchel's living off his last name for the past. People get mad. When's Keuchel going to throw 6 innings? Literally, when is he going to throw 6? Like, you're here to eat innings. So those are things that they're winning games. But I look at man, they're using the bullpen too much. It's April. You know, I'm looking at the innings. I'm like, man, we're like struggling to. This should be a game that you should have used only 2 pitchers. Like, why are we using so many bullpen guys? So those are analysis that obviously when you're deeper into the game, you look at and how this is going to affect the team. Because here's the other part, man. No one's talking about this. Innings pitched. So when you look at those kids in the bullpen, they've never pitched, 60 innings out of the pen in the major leagues. So they might look fresh as hell right now, but like in July, they might be like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I can't, and then your bullpen goes from, wow, we've had the best bullpen in baseball to, oh my God, our guys can't even.
What the hell happened?
Yeah, what the hell happened? So that's where you look at, like, when guys are there, I always look more than the wins and losses of like how many innings they're pitching, because the innings game is very interesting. It goes back to Kopech of how am I going to utilize him for the best innings possible? Like what inning consumption am I going to use the best for? So again, they have a lot of work to do in the sense of they have a lot to play with. But a lot of questions in the air. And every single day, we got to, look at what they have to do. And again, I've seen White Sox fans on Twitter of, why don't you bring in Hendricks in a 7th inning in a high leverage situation, over in the closing spot? And it's like, well, because you have people in those positions to do that job. That they didn't have that in Oakland. The Sox do. You got Marshall, you got Crochet, you got Kopech. So just because a player was used somewhere else
a certain way
doesn't mean that he has to be used in the White Sox in a certain way. And that's where analytics kind of messes people up, of you manage to the team that you have, not your managing style. So if Ozzie Guillen was given this team today, he wouldn't be managing it like the 04 team. He'd be managing it, probably run a lot more because there's a lot of speed. So you manage to the team that you have, not the team that you want managing. Correct. So people make that mistake in general. Yeah, you make that mistake in general. Yeah, and that's something that in the game of analytics, we need to start doing a better job of adapting. Okay, I have a playbook, you have a playbook, and everyone's doing the same thing. I think that the advantage comes in when you don't do the same thing. Okay, when you go completely the opposite, and you're like, oh my god, and that's where guys, I think that you see the growth of that, and that's where guys really find those advantages of being great.
And then look at Belichick. Remember, he brought in 2 tight ends. Like, what the hell? It's going to a passing league. Going to a passing league, and there's 2 tight ends.
Oh, Mercedes. Okay, this guy comes in. They realize that this guy has great at bats. I don't care if he doesn't get any more hits, but his at bats are 9-10 pitches. Okay, he's grinding it out. He's having really good battles. Madrigal. People are mad because he doesn't get extra base hits. Doesn't hit doubles. It's like, okay, well, this guy though, he's on the plate. He cannot be struck out. Okay, he's super dangerous with 2 strikes. So that puts leverage and stress on the pitching staff, that when you have to go in and you have to battle against Abreu or Moncada, or Tim Anderson, you might not have enough left in the tank.
Dude, he is number 1. I said it in the top of the morning segment. I'm glad you mentioned it. He's first in so many different categories. He's first, but the one that I talked about the most was two strike batting average. He's batting 409.
Yeah, 2 strikes.
You just start him with 2 strikes. Just make the game start.
And again, it's because he battles. And again, the way that the league is pitching him is a little bit different. Okay, because they don't want to walk him. You walk him in the 9th spot, you got Tim up. Okay, great hit and run situation. Madrigal wants to take second, he can. You don't want to give Tim a fastball. You get behind the count, now it's man on second and first with Madrigal and Tim. And then you got guys that Moncada or anybody in the 2nd spot that can do it. So now you're putting yourself in a situation of like, man, this is I'm struggling now. Like I'm going deep into the count. I need to really figure it out. But that him in the 9th spot, in the situation that he's in, that's why he's so dangerous, especially when he comes up leading off the inning, because people are like, okay, I need to be really careful with this guy because I don't want to mess him up. I don't want to mess up with him. And that's why they give him stuff to hit, because they're like, I need him to try to put the ball in play so I don't have to face Anderson with somebody on base.
Dude, that's Ozzie Guillen Jr., man. Hey, Papa, great stuff. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
O. Guillen Jr. on Twitter and Instagram. And we have our show, La Vida Baseball Live, on Mondays, but they air on YouTube. Can catch them on demand. And then Being Guillen on Fridays, it airs. But yeah, man, I'm super excited to be here, always covering the Sox. And it's a good time for them to be able to make a really nice run.
Hey, thanks again, Papa. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. I just saw you guys talking about the Bears, who they're going to draft. I'm like, does it matter?
No, because you got Nagy calling the plays. So no, it's not going to matter.
I'm going to give you guys something I'm thinking about misjudging of where you're at as an organization. Okay, when you're looking, I'm not a big football guy. You're looking at the guys that are available in the draft, and you're not even eligible to pick somebody. Okay, that's the White Sox situation of like, you don't want to go crazy and trade for, people are talking about trade for like Charlie Blackmon. Okay, that's 1 year. Like, are we really that close to the World Series?
Right.
Like, are we the Dodgers?
Nope.
Have we been that deep in the playoffs? So then let's say you trade Charlie Blackmon, they want, Kopech. And then you trade Kopech, Charlie Blackmon comes here, and then we don't win it. And then Kopech starts his career in Colorado as a great everyday big league player, and you just lost Blackman to the free agent market, or you just don't sign him back because he's just too old. So that's where you need to be scared of. People are like, Jerry sucks. Kenny's horrible. Rick Hahn, you don't bring anybody. It's like, well, these guys are trying to think about, where we're going to be in 2 or 3 years, like as an organization, which is smart, which I think that as a GM, before I go, is super smart, because if I was a GM and I know I wasn't going to be here in 3 years, I say, you know what? Fire all the rookies, get them all out of here. Right. I don't want anybody. I want to win right now. And that's where you see the difference, which Tony's being really good about it, because if I'm Tony, I'm like, trade them all. I'm trying to win right now. I'm not going to be here next year. But he's saying, hey, can't get crazy. We want to compete for a while.
Hey, Ozzy, before you take off, bro, can you do me a favor? We've been looking for this shirt for Shawn, and I can't find it anywhere.
Please.
Which one?
Can you help
this
us
one?
find this shirt?
This one.
It's a romper. Number one, it's a romper, not a shirt.
It is a romper.
Oh, if it's a romper, that's even better, dude. That's even better.
A romper.
That's even better. That's even better.
You know what, though? He gets a lot of grief for his music video, which, again, the song is super catchy and it's super awesome. But it's funny because he's not on social media starting crap with anybody, okay? Or on Instagram. He made his song and he hasn't even posted himself. He's just like, this is just something I'm doing. I'm just cool. And so with Moncada, people are very confused, okay, on like his style. I'm not worried about Moncada like off the field because he just does stuff, but it's just like part of his life. He's not on Twitter starting stuff, talking about it, which again happened this weekend, which it's what this league is about today, okay? Trevor Bauer goes on conference and says, oh, I don't care about guys doing showing. But then he tweets, oh, I saw you peeking at the ball when you were looking at and hitting. So I said, bro, you actually went and looked at the video to see if he was peeking. But you're not bothered. So those are the funny things of like, people are like really focused on Moncada because he is extra of like, I've never seen a guy so fresh on the field looks wise. He looks like he's fresh. Like his hair is perfect. His beard's perfect, but he doesn't really promote it. Like, look at him. Like he's a gorgeous man, but he doesn't promote it. And he's been a guy that people
said that on here, Oz. We said
people have been hating. People have been hating on Moncada. Moncada, remember this, guys. Moncada did not sign up to hit fourth.
No,
he's stepping up because no one else in that lineup, including Abreu, can hit fourth. Okay, so he's the best candidate that they have. Here's the second part. His third base defensively, he makes it look so easy. We take it for granted, mind you, how good of a third base that he plays for this team. He's probably he's probably one of the top 3 right now today defensively in the American League at that position. But people don't like it because he looks good. He strikes out a lot.
The pretty boy.
But he's this first month for him, and I know this for a fact. Moncada hates hitting anywhere that's not second. Okay,
what have I been saying, Ivan? What have I been saying? Put it in the 2 spot.
As a 2 spot, they pitch
me 2 spot.
Two spot, you get fastballs. You got a Brady behind you.
Yep.
You're like, man, as a 2 spot, you're just looking at just stuff to hit. You're hitting fourth. You're not getting stuff to hit. So now you feel more pressure. You have to your approach at the plate changes, and that's where people don't get about like where guys feel comfortable. Okay, it's like, oh, I Ozzy, for example, I don't like hitting leadoff. Why? You're up 5 times a game. Okay, you're hitting 9th. You're hitting 3 times a game. Maybe you're in the leadoff spot. You're like, you get the first guy right away, and you're literally they pitch you harder because you're the leadoff guy. So that's where people don't talk about like the differentiator about like he used to get really good pitches to hit at number 2. And I tell Sox fans, I'm like, their obsession with Joe Creedy. I'm like, yeah, everybody loves Joe Creedy until Joe Creedy had to hit third every day. Then you don't like Joe Creedy so much because you're like, Joe Creedy sucks at third. It's like, well, Moncada's hitting fourth because Eloy decided to jump a wall like an idiot
in the spring training game.
And got hurt.
Stop it, Ivan.
But hey, Ivan, keep playing that because this is one of those things that when you see a team having issues and not calling them out early, and it was fun and it was this. And this is when you have to say, I have a picture of him
Shawn.
Opening day last year.
Shawn.
He's on the ground and Ricky's on top of him, like petting his back because this idiot got hurt jumping up and down and he twisted his ankle.
Yeah.
Okay, but everyone thought it was like funny of like that ball had there been no fence, he might have been in the first row with a cracked head. But he was like jumping into the fence like it's like you're 260 pounds, bro.
Right,
so those
right.
are things that you take as a joke, okay, that are not funny until somebody gets hurt.
No,
those are the things that like the thing him in the outfield, like looking like at Pantera, like, oh, you stole the ball. Yeah, you idiot, because you're not playing good left field. So Pantera has to run all the way there because you can't do your job and you can't listen. So those are the things that like the little tiny things.
Yeah, Shawn, you really beating up Shawn right now, Ozzy. Just so you know.
No, you're not.
Right now, Nick Madrigal. Okay, he was shown to the White Sox fans, very bad advertising. This guy's great defensively. I'm like, who? He plays second base like a college player. Okay, he plays second base like he's still in college, which is not good in the big leagues. He's lucky that they don't break up double plays. If not, he'd be in the IL with like a broken fibula. Horrible double play thrower. Number two, your shortstop. Okay, super athletic guy. So you cannot be late to the bag because Tim is not that good of a shortstop to make those adjustments. Okay, he's just a natural type of guy. So he needs a second baseman that's super solid because you can't make Tim's not making the adjustments of like, I'm good enough a shortstop to look, oh my God, he's late. I'm going to hold the ball, then I'm going to throw it. So for him, everyone's worried about his hitting and doubles. I'm like, this kid needs to learn how to catch the ball at second and turn a double play. That's all I care about. So when people are like, oh, they're being too hard on him on an error that he's not, I'm like, no, that's his job because that's his job. So White Sox fans think that people are being hard on players like we were on Eloy because he was jumping up and down and doing all that. Those are the things that I think that you need to focus on. And when you're moving on of like, when are you doing stupid stuff? Like, when are you really, when are you having fun? Which I've never seen it again. Okay, people hate Tony, but I haven't seen the White Sox celebrating down 10-0. Have you guys seen them celebrating?
No.
We were having barbecues with Rick Renteria. We were down 10 runs. We were like dancing. And people were funny. People were like, why didn't they bring Yomer back? I was like, because of that crap. Tony's like down on the bench and he's down 4 runs. You can hear a pin drop of like, and people think that's not fun, but it's like, no, you can have fun.
That's work. Sorry. Exactly. We're winning. We're winning.
We're here to win games. That's our job. Like, we're no longer the Pirates. If you're the Pirates and you want to dance and do flips and do whatever, you suck, dude. That's all you can do. But when you're trying to win a division, you really want to, and that's where I think the White Sox are growing, and people don't see it because the media doesn't cover it, okay? But we have not seen the White Sox dance and the chain down 10. Tim Anderson's still the same person. He hasn't bat flipped anybody down 6-0. So those are the things that people are like, because they're maturing as we need to win.
And you got the guy in the dugout. It's like, hey, we're here for a job. We got one job. We got a World Series.
That thing's a sense of maturity, and that's when teams look. And again, going back to Ozzy in 04, that 04 team didn't have that. Okay, we had guys talking about like RBIs and like, oh, I'm going to drive this, and Ozzy was like, what that was? And one of the guys that was on the team that cared about was Paul Konerko. Okay, and everybody thought Paul Konerko was the asshole of the thing, literally, because he was tired of losing. And, same thing with Mark Burley. And they started bringing guys in that were like guys that were like, hey, we want to, like, if I go 0 for 5, but we win, I'm okay. And I don't like him at all personally as a personal level, but I think Adam Eaton brings that to the team. Okay, I think that he's bringing the competitiveness of every single at bat. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to piss somebody off. I'm going to give you a good at bat. I want to win. That's the type of attitude that you need to bring in, because then you get guys that are not like that naturally. Moncada, for example, kind of say, oh, I'm going to buy into this. There's guys that are born winners. There's guys that are just like, you be playing chess with them. They lose. They're throwing stuff. And then there's guys that are not that type of guy, Moncada, that you need to get to that level of like, hey, producing day in, day out. But I'll keep you guys. Have me on soon. Yvonne, keep posting. Shawn, see you guys soon. Kenneth, talk to you.
All right, man. Thanks. All right. Guys, that was Ozzie Guillen Jr. talking. And you know what?
Great. That was pretty dope.
I love talking baseball with him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's a chip off the old block because his baseball IQ is freaking through the roof, and I love it.
It's high. And I like also the fact, like the Eden part, where he says personally, saying I may not agree with him, but look at what he's doing now. Because a lot of people can't separate those two things.
Many can't.
Just because me and you may not get along, I can still appreciate what you may bring and give you props for it. That doesn't mean we have to be besties and something like that. That was dope.
Hell, Rod, Rodman and Mike never hung out. Shit, Mike.
but
you know what I'm saying? Rodman, Mike, and Pip never hung out.
But we have been telling you that about Eloy. We had to bring him on here to say we've been telling your ass that he's running in front of Eloy. It was like, is Eloy out there?
That wasn't. No, see, that wasn't. That was a routine that was a routine fly ball to Eloy, and Lewis Robert went and got it. And I've called Eloy out for doing stupid stuff, like stop jumping into walls, okay, and hurting your ankle your rookie year. Stop doing stupid shit. He does stupid shit because he's goofy. He's a goofball. He's got to mature, and that's the issue. So mature. Stop jumping on the wall trying to bring back a homer in spring training. It don't mean jack spit. It's
I think
spring
he
training.
hurt himself every single time he's been injured.
He's been hurt. No,
yes, he did. Ivan.
Yes, he every single time he's been injured.
Yes, he has. And I've called him out on it. I said, stop being stupid. Stop being stupid. Learn how to slide. Okay, don't jump into the stands. Don't jump over the
slide. Don't unnecessarily slide into home when there's no play at home. When the little things. That's not mature. Like if you're coming across home, why slide when you're 260 pounds with your big ass? Like that don't make sense.
No, I agree. Like it's just him being childish, and he's got to grow up.
We just want you to be fair to Lou Bob. That's all we're asking. All right. First, Lou Bob needed to grin more, but Eloy gets to be run out here with a Kool-Aid smile and just do all a bunch of foolishness. We just wanted you to be fair to Lou Bob. All right.
Hey, you know what? When you're on a different level, and those levels aren't very far apart. All right, they're not very far apart. But when you're on a different level, Eloy's not a 5'2" player. Eloy is not a 5'2" player. Lou Bob is.
But you know what? He's still a big factor to this team, and he took himself out. And to go along with it with Ricky, they built the foundation of letting him do this mess. And they should have stopped him. And I think from how Rick Hahn sounded after Eloy hurt himself, I think the decree has been put down. You need to stop with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because especially let alone if they have to go out and trade for, in which they probably will, and give up a prospect to go out and get an outfielder because you're out here just doing foolish when we're trying to win. Look, even if we're not trying to win, you have been on it as far as these guys haven't won yet. You know what I'm saying? But with that, we have to have our full accoutrement of our players.
Everybody's got to be there.
Yes. Yeah. So, and that's where it's just like, especially the majority of the season, like you blew a season. Again, I'm only upset because I'm really not upset. I'm only upset right now because it's just piquing my mind right now because Mercedes has done so much. If Mercedes hadn't done this, I would be cursing the very name of Eloy Jimenez right now. And I hate to say that, but I would be.
You have every right to, Ken. You have every freaking right to.
It'd burn me.
Honestly, think when TA went down, I think you saw the huge difference with TA. The mentality. Because like you said, you know, we at the beginning of the season, I'm going to go because I know we gotta go. At the beginning of the season, the problem was like, oh man, is Tony going to get right with TA? Well, obviously, there's not a problem. Obviously, it's going well, and obviously, TA is more of a leader, like a tone setter than we think. You know what I mean? It might be Abreu. It might, you know, he might be bringing people together as well. But I think as far as setting the tone for where the team should go, wanting to win, TA is the guy.
Hands down.
I think he's the lightning rod. He's the lightning rod.
Hands down.
Lightning rod. Yeah.
Hands freaking down. Hey, bro, if you got an extra 10, 15 minutes, we'd love to keep you. I gotta record Under Center at noon, and I gotta get ready to do that, bro. I haven't even written the stuff I gotta write for it, man. It's dude. And then I got Jason and them tonight. Like I'm stretched this week. Listen, I'm back Friday because we gotta talk draft, but even then I'm gonna be pooped. But yeah, I got to jump out, man. I got to get ready to record Under Center at noon.
You are with us on Thursday, though, right, Ken?
What's on Thursday?
The draft.
The draft.
What time am I got? Listen, I'm recording Under Center Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. So what time are y'all saying Thursday? Because Phil hit me up and I told him the same thing, and I was like, maybe I'll try to get all my guys in, but it may be a blip. It may be a blip. I'll try to get everybody in, but it can't be. I don't know if we're going to go record after the Bears pick or after the first round yet. So that's when I'm out. But prior to that, I'll try to get all my peeps in, you know what I'm saying, just to shoot some shit or whatever. So we'll talk and we'll text and find out when.
Figure it out.
Yeah, because if I can do it for somebody else, I got to come and do it at the crib. So just let me know, man.
All right, bet, man. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it.
Always.
Appreciate
you too, bro.
All right, now. Guys, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to talk Bears football, baby. The draft is Thursday, and I'm fired to freak up. We're going to talk to our guy, Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Audible. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, this is Gary Payton, and we listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Do that.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Swinging a line drive, fair down the right field line. That'll score at least one as Robertson is in. It's a double for Colton Wong to drive in yet another run.
The action on the Brewers radio network in a 6-0 win over the Cubs on Sunday. Brandon Woodruff outdueling Jake Arrieta. Woodruff gave up 2 hits, struck out 8, and walked 2 in his first win in 11 career appearances against Chicago. For the Cubs, Arrieta pitched 6 innings of 2-hit ball, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Milwaukee led it 1-0 after the first and piled on with a 5-run top of the 9th. The White Sox doubled up the Rangers 8-4. Michael Kopech struck out a career-high 10 over 5 innings. Jose Abreu homered and drove in 3 runs. NBA tonight, second straight for the Bulls at Miami. On Saturday, the Heat with a 106-101 win. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Man, we're just getting off that was damn near an hour interview with Ozzy.
That was entertaining.
That was a good segment.
I was more or less not surprised that he was going to go ahead and get in a little bit on Eloy about the maturity. But like I said, he's going to be a great player as long as he could
stop doing dumb shit. It's plain and simple. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Look, I know you're a 260-pound, like 13-year-old kid inside, but like you can't do dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just you can't have it. You're in the major leagues. You're a grown man. Too many people rely on you to be out there day by day doing what you do.
And you know what? And truth be told, I think he really needs to take his conditioning, physical conditioning to another level.
Yeah.
Right. Because he was a little soft and pudgy. You know what I mean? And you saw what Jose's done. Jose was a lot bigger when he first came up, and he's changed his diet. You can tell he's toned now. Yeah, that's him right there. He's toned now.
Yeah, that's.
I think Eloy needs to make sure he needs to hit that weight room. He needs to hit the swimming pool. He needs to do some yoga if he can't swim. He's got to be more flexible, and he's got to be stronger.
Him and Zion should talk to each other.
Hey, maybe you know what? Bring your ass over here, Eloy. I'll put you through some workouts, Papa. Trust me. We'll get you some stretching in. We'll get some swimming in. We got it. Trust me. But anyway, now let's get to our guy, man. The NFL draft is this Thursday, and there's a lot of rumors going around, draft talk, especially around our Chicago Bears. And this guy is he's been going down to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. 2 years ago, I think he went. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't go this year because there was no Senior Bowl. But anyway, you know what? He's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at Nicholas Moriano. Guys, let's welcome back from the Chicago Audible, Nicholas Moriano. Nick, what's up, Papa? How are you?
How's it going, Shawn?
I'm going. Things are well. How are you over there at the Audible?
Everything's going good. And especially with this week being draft week, we can put all those mock drafts to rest and finally see what actually happens. Yes, thank God is right.
So talk to me, man. Talk to me. put your GM hat on. Okay, I don't want to mess up your nice hairdo over there. So yeah, but just figuratively put your GM hat on. What are you thinking with this 20th pick? You're Ryan. If you're in a situation that Ryan Pace is in, okay, where we don't know as fans, we're only speculating that he's on a hot seat. He might not be on a hot seat. He might say, "Hey, you know what? Let me get a quarterback, and that'll give me another 2-3 years." What do you suggest the Bears do with 20? Do you trade up? Do you get up to that? The Atlanta Falcons pick if Justin Fields is still there, if Trey Lance is still there, do you stay pat? What do you do if you're the Bears?
Yeah, Shawn, I think it's such an interesting question because the Bears can realistically go in so many different directions with this. If let's say they want to move up to 4 and Atlanta's there, they're looking to actually trade. I know the Bears are going to be calling. They have to. That's Ryan Pace's job to kind of look into what it would take. And you saw what they would possibly offer for Russell Wilson. I don't know if they would realistically do that for a rookie in Justin Fields, but if he's there, I'm sure Ryan Pace would call. But if you're staying at 20 and Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State right tackle's there, that would be a good option. I think Bears fans would like the pick. If you're looking to, it brings a nastiness to this Bears offensive line it's not there currently. If you wanted to upgrade the corner spot with Kyle Fuller being gone, Greg Newsome is on the board. I really just love the way he moves, just his instincts, his hip flexibility. He's a guy that you could plug in there after Desmond Trufant is done with his one-year deal. You have 2 young corners if you want to go that direction on defense. Look, Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota is a stud wide receiver, just a route running technician. And Allen Robinson is maybe here for 2021. There's no guarantee for anything past that. So you're going to need people to throw to eventually. So those are 3 guys: offensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, and they could probably go, other directions as well. But that 20th pick, it's going to be vital for, let's say Ryan Pace is on the hot seat. I think you just need a contributor right here and now, 2021, to see if the Bears can get out of this 8-8 hole that they've been in for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, they need to get out of it. Well, they can't go 8-8 this season, thank goodness. And hopefully, they won't say, well, he haven't had a losing season, because I don't want this coaching staff here. You know what? I'm not a big fan of it. I've not hid that by any stretch. Nagy's inability to use the things that he's got. We were just talking in the last segment about, manager managing the team you have, not the team you want. And I was like, yeah, you mean like Nagy? And that's the thing, is that you have to coach the guys you have. And, I don't think he makes adjustments very well. I think he's stuck he's too stubborn. I think, it was evident, and it was put on Front Street last year that was to go through David Montgomery. It makes everything so much easier, but it took him being removed from the play calling to notice that. And that's why I don't think whoever we draft is going to make an issue, because he's already said he's calling the plays again. And if that's the case, I don't trust him running David Montgomery, which means that doesn't open up, that doesn't bring in linebackers, that doesn't force teams to bring in a safety in the box, that doesn't leave openings in the back. And it doesn't matter whoever's quarterback, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. And that's frustrating. So I'm really upset that he's coaching, or that he's going to be calling plays. I personally, if we stay, I'm saying get an offensive lineman, get some big nasty son of a bitch who's going to sit there and just be a wall, and put it in Charles Leno Jr. Sorry, you go. I know they owe you money, but you're trying to win, and you need to set a tone, because we don't have a nasty offensive lineman. The last nasty offensive lineman we had just signed with the Chiefs. Okay, so that's it. Give me your thoughts on wide receiver. Where do you think we go with wide receiver? Because I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, so if the Bears don't decide to do that, it's they can definitely go that route, because this is a deep wide receiver class. Let's say even wait till the 3rd round to maybe address the position. Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan, I think, fits that mold of what Matt Nagy's been trying to find. Look, he's been trying to, in his best way, replicate what the Chiefs have, which you can't do if you don't have the quarterback, but you still want to try to get some of the skilled players around them. And I know when Dwayne Eskridge, whenever he gets drafted, the first thing you're going to hear about is a Tyreek Hill type player. There's only one of those kind of guys in the league, and that's Tyreek Hill, but he does have elite speed. So Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan's a guy. I like Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State. So Tevin Jenkins' teammate, a guy that I actually was able to go to Mobile, Alabama to see this past in January. Just, again, someone that gets open. And that's what you're going to need. And with Anthony Miller on the trade block, we'll see if he's even on the team by the time this draft is over. you're most likely going to need to add somebody else. So if you can add a slot type receiver like that, Eskridge, a Tylan Wallace, even Amari Rodgers out of Clemson in the third round, I think you still are getting somebody that maybe he's not going to get all the reps initially, but given down the line, for sure, he's definitely going to see some time on the playing field. But those are just two guys that, don't pick 20. The Bears we want to address that tackle position like we were just talking about. There are wide receivers, capable wide receivers that you can get later in the draft.
Yeah, one of the names that's come up, and 3 different scouts have talent scouts have talked about Jalen Darden, kid out of North Texas. I watched this kid's tape, and you talk about a Tyreek Hill type of player. His speed is off the charts, and his lateral movement, his jukeability, as I call it, is like you're playing as a playground-esque. Okay, like he'll stop and start, and his that looks like a guy. If we can get in the 3rd or 4th round, he's a player. He's a player, and he's one of those guys that makes things happen like a Tyreek Hill. So I don't know if you haven't checked him out, look him up, check out his highlight film, and you see a lot of the good things he does. Do you think we go at a defense at all? I mean, I think we have a lot of needs on offense, but do you think we have some needs on defense too? Let's not get it twisted. But if you do, where's the first position you think we go?
I think they're going to address the secondary right now, Shawn. I mean, they could, like I was talking about, get a Greg Newsome, get a starting left cornerback, or that nickel spot. I think right now is wide open. You're not just going to hand the keys to the card to Duke Shelley to take over that position to be the guy. So if you're looking to address that position, maybe it's with the 52 overall pick. Elijah Molden out of Washington's a guy that I really like. Just someone that, what you want out of a nickel corner, someone that can actually physically cover guys and stay close to the hip and make plays on the ball. Elijah Molden out of Washington could do all of that. I think the Bears have been trying to find that right guy ever since Bryce Callahan left. Yes, Buster Skrine had a, okay first season, but it's been on a decline since then. So if you're looking to address the secondary, hey, go get that left cornerback, and maybe a Farley from Virginia Tech falls. Maybe it is Greg Newsome at 20, but Elijah Molden in the 2nd round. I also, when I was in Mobile, Alabama, saw Thomas Graham Jr. play out of Oregon. It's a guy that in his time at Oregon at 39 passes defended, like he is always in position to make plays. One of the smaller guys, and there were a lot of good wide receivers at that Senior Bowl. Thomas Graham Jr. out of Oregon, he was the most consistent in those one-on-one drills trying to cover these guys. So if it's he falls all the way to the 6th round, maybe it's that 5th round pick that the Bears have. That could be another guy that if you're looking to address the secondary, those guys would be worth mentioning and for the Bears to consider.
Do you think, and guys, we're joined by Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Audible, talking Bears football in the draft right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Who are you liking on the offensive line? You got a chance to see a lot of those guys down there, but who are you liking? If we say we're going tackle, who are you, and Nicholas Moriano's making the pick, at 20, or just give me your top 3 offensive tackles that you like.
Yeah, so we definitely talked about Tevin Jenkins at 20. Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech's also another really good left tackle. Just moves so well in space, and what the Bears are trying to do there, I could see that definitely working if you're looking to replace Charles Leno Jr. sooner rather than later. He's a guy that you could plug in. But if you're waiting until the 2nd round, maybe pick 52, and Dylan Redunce out of North Dakota State is still there. That's a guy that also brings the nastiness to him. And obviously playing at a smaller school, he had to go up against high-level competition in the Senior Bowl, the best seniors in the country. He looked like he fit. He wasn't out of place there whatsoever, was able to win a lot of his one-on-one reps, and again, brings that nastiness, Shawn, that the Bears just don't have. So that's another guy that the Bears, let's say, they don't address that tackle position on day 1. I'm fully expecting them to get somebody on day 2, either round 2 or round 3, because if you wait any longer, man, what are the Bears going to be in the same exact position they were last year, drafting, offensive linemen, later in the round, picks round 6 and round 7 to upgrade a very important position. Then you have Andy Dalton, not the most mobile guy. So Dylan Redunce, North Dakota State, that's a guy that I really like if he were to fall for the Bears there.
Okay. Yeah, I think you got to fortify it. But my question is this. it does not answer the quarterback, doesn't fix the conundrum that we're in. Andy Dalton's here for 1 year. Okay. Who's behind him? Okay. Nick Foles. Yeah. He's not here. He's not the long-term answer either. So you go offensive lineman in the first round, which I want. Now then you try and give us some, I'll accept going into the second round for a quarterback. Although let's get it twisted. In the last 10 years or so, 15 years, only 3 quarterbacks who've been drafted in the first round have won Super Bowls. So is that what he's thinking, Ryan Pace? But don't give me anything less than, if I'm a third or fourth or fifth round quarterback, because I'm not sure if I'm down with that. So what do we do? Do we, that's why I asked everyone else. I'm going to ask you. Do you think that Russell Wilson trade is still on the table, or the Deshaun Watson thing, if he's able to get out of legal trouble, or do we trade up to get a quarterback? Is that still in play? Because, I don't see this quarterback situation being fixed if we draft the lineman and then we draft, say, a wide receiver in the second round. Whoever we draft later than that, I don't know if they're going to be the guy to take us to where we need to go.
Well, Shawn, as Ryan Pace would say, everything is on the table. But I think what the Bears could do, let's say they don't actually move up. It's too hard for them to do that to get to pick number 4. It'll be interesting what Detroit does at 7, seeing who's on the board there. But let's say they wait second, third round. I think a guy that's been getting a lot of hype, and I think there's some that's deservedly so, is Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. Okay. I think when you look at what he can do and what the system that he comes from, being very familiar with running RPOs and just having experience other than the last quarterback that Ryan Pace took with Mitchell Trubisky, that could be an intriguing player that maybe he doesn't start right away. Obviously, maybe if it's a third round pick, you still have Andy Dalton to come in. But this is a guy that, if Matt Nagy likes the intangibles that he has, a quick release, strong downfield arm, and just, accuracy, I think this could be an intriguing pick for the Bears if they, if Russell Wilson's not in the question, Deshaun Watson's not a factor, and you can't move up. Does Ryan Pace actually pull the trigger and take someone in round 2? Or if, depending on what mock draft simulator you use, he's there in round 3, but it's never accurate because teams will value quarterbacks have their own draft. So once you see that, I think if it's round 2, pick 52, and they see that they like a guy like that, or maybe even Davis Mills, the guy I'm more favorable towards Kellen Mond, then you got to take a swing at some point. But the other caveat to this is that, is Ryan Pace, this current staff thinking, we need to win now? Does a backup quarterback who we need to develop help us win in 2021? If it doesn't, then they might just go to what their strategy has been, best player available, and just build around. It's not building around Dalton. It's building around whatever quarterback will come next. So getting a tackle is going to help a quarterback down the line, adding wide receivers, things like that. So if that's the approach, then maybe we don't see a quarterback on the first 2 days of the draft, and you draft a Sam Ehlinger out of Texas with the, a round 6 pick, which I know would just make Bears fans super happy, right? But that could be the approach. If Ryan Pace thinks, well, if I'm on the hot seat, Kellen Mond's not going to help me right now, let me go get a wide receiver that will help Andy Dalton right now, and Tevin Jenkins to block for Andy Dalton, things like that. So there's probably so many scenarios going through Ryan Pace's head, but I think every single one comes back to what's going to save my job.
That's funny that you say that. What, thinking about this, give me your thoughts on Nagy and Pace still being there, because I don't think they should. Some people say they do. Some people, and that's a small majority, say that they deserve another chance. Obviously, the most important voices are the McCaskies, who feel they deserve another chance. But give me your thoughts on them, because, and especially on Pace's first round picking, because it sucks. It's 250, all right, 1 out of 4, okay, and 3 of the 4 people that he picked in the first round are not even on the team anymore. Kevin White's out of the league. Leonard Floyd is sacking Chicago Bear quarterbacks, and Mr. Trubisky is a backup. The only guy is Roquan Smith. Give me your thoughts on that, and do you think he even deserved the chance to get another shot to pick in the first round?
Yeah, it's so when they made a decision to bring both of them back, I think like a lot of Bears fans, I wasn't in agreement with it. And I think when you look at Matt Nagy too, what he was renowned for was this offensive guru, right? But the offense never took leaps and bounds better than what it was before him. And I think the scapegoat or the fall guy was, oh, Mitch Trubisky. You see, look, he was a guy holding us back, and I think to a certain extent he was, but still the plays that were being run, regardless of who you put in, they're just schematically not right. They just weren't working in terms of the defense they were facing. So, and then now we know that Matt Nagy's going to be calling plays again. That now that he's got Andy Dalton, his guy. It was an interesting move by the Bears, but I think what the McCaskies wanted was just some consistency, just to keep the consistency, even though there wasn't very much production in terms of actual winning going on. So it's like, oh, we don't want to go through this quarterback or this coaching search, this GM search. Let's give them another shot. And we just made the playoffs. And I think, Shawn, that's got to be what the McCaskies, this organization, think like, oh, look, no, they made the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. Well, yeah, you technically you did, but you got, yeah, exactly. It wasn't because the Bears, did it through their own power. They needed the Rams to help out and obviously get in the wild card and lose to the Saints. So, yeah, like you, I did not agree with bringing both of them back. And then in terms of their first round draft picks and Ryan Pace getting another shot, like you said, Roquan Smith's the only one that he's drafted that's still here. And it is a pretty good pick. But the only thing that maybe I can say that is different from any of the other picks of this first round that Ryan Pace has had, it's the first one that's not in the top 10. The Bears had to move up from 11 to 9 to get Leonard Floyd. Does this maybe make things a little easier for Ryan Pace? Like, hey, the best players are gone. Like, all these players are gone. Just take whatever's left in terms of if the best tackle's there, you take it. It's just simple as that. So maybe with Ryan Pace, there were just so many options having in the first 10 picks. He just didn't know what to do and, end up with Mitch Trubisky, end up with Leonard Floyd, these high upside guys. Just take the guy that is going to produce, be a consistent player, and ultimately help your football team. But this is, Shawn, I honestly do think that he is on the hot seat. I think 2021 will be the year that if they go, now it'll be 8-9 or however they finish,
7 and
they're
10.
gone. Yeah. So exactly. So I think this will be it. He needs to win. They can't just squeak into the playoffs. A wild card, like, and you're one and done, that I think would do it too as well, because this team is not showing progress and you're wasting a defense that it was ready. I think was ready, especially was able to compete. And now each year that passes, each season that passes, pieces are going to start falling. And then now you're just with a team that isn't ready for anything.
How, in your mind, how smart of it would it be for Matt Nagy to remove himself and just be the CEO? Because he's got Bill Lazor there, who obviously did a good job with Mitch Trubisky. He was averaging, they put up, 30 points, average right around 30 points, I believe, or a little less when he was calling the plays. Got Mitch looking the best he's ever looked, more consistent, better throws. Didn't worry about Charles Leonard Jr. We didn't hear his name called a lot because you're running the ball. And then now you get Lazor's former quarterback in Andy Dalton, a guy that he's got some familiarity with and some history with. And Matt Nagy says, I'm going to call the plays. How intelligent or stupid do you think that move is when you have a guy, a quarterback who's been to the Pro Bowl and had a playoff victory or two, back with his own offensive coordinator, but you want to call the plays?
I'll say this. I think that it was a little premature for him to come out and say that, and now he's going to be the guy that is calling the plays. You saw what Bill Lazor was able to do with, a handicap quarterback with Mitch Trubisky. He got the best out of him. So a guy that he's familiar with, Andy Dalton, who's been to the Pro Bowl with him, who's had success in Cincinnati. The running game was looking good. Dave Montgomery finishes the 5th leading rusher. You want to take that away before the season even starts? I thought that was just for Matt Nagy. Maybe just, again, I think what always comes with him is like a little bit of pride here. Like he was hired. Too much of it. He was hired because of his, offensive philosophies, his play calling, things of that nature. And now when you strip that away, yes, he's still the head coach. And I think that's where maybe the role should have been at least to start off the season. Why not let Bill Lazor see what he can do in terms of calling plays? Matt Nagy's still a part of this. They're not like Matt Nagy's completely removed. They're still in the meeting rooms. They're still developing the game plan, the schemes, and everything they're going to run. Just let Bill call the plays, at least to start off the season. And then if it's, looking like it was for the majority of 2020, then maybe you could step in and maybe take that role again. But how it ended off with the Bears actually having some success with a limited quarterback. And I know it was against bad defenses. I understand that you need to diversify your schemes a little bit more because you saw in the Packers game, you saw in the Saints game, they exposed that. They knew how to stop things, but it still was working. It's more than what you could say for what Matt Nagy was doing with his guys. So yeah, it was a questionable, interesting, and I think it just should have been Bill Lazor to start off, and we'll see if it ends up that way throughout the course of the 2021 NFL season.
Hey, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. Do me a big favor. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me personally at Nicholas Moriano on Twitter. And then you can follow the Chicago Audible. Just if you look up at the Chicago Audible, you find our Twitter, our Facebook, and our YouTube. And throughout the draft, we'll be going live each and every time the Bears are on the clock. So make sure you tune in and check that out. Hey, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Thank you. All righty. Guys, that's Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Huddle talking a little Bears football and right here. And I don't know. I don't know who I'm taking. I think I'd like an offensive lineman. I think I'd like a nasty offensive tackle. Yeah, I think that's what I'd like if I stay at 20. I don't want a cornerback, not in round one. I don't want a wide receiver, not round one. You've really got to show you got to shore up that offensive line because it doesn't matter who you bring in at quarterback if you don't have an offensive line.
Hey, look, you know what? One of the big things, and I know Phil's mentioned, I think everybody's knows this. This draft in particular is deep with offensive tackle, offensive linemen. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good offensive linemen in this draft. How quickly do you think those guys are going to go? You know what I mean? Like, how quickly do you think those guys, if you got a team sitting there early second, late first, oh, wow, this guy's here, this guy's there. Those guys could go quick. And if you think you're going to find a good one later with your second round draft pick, you might be sitting there, I won't use the phrase, but you might be just sitting there like hands out. You know what I mean? Hands out. Hands up. You're like, you're done. Like, you can't do anything about it. You're going to have to take the best available. And honestly, I mean, maybe that guy might be good, but you want the best quality tackle or offensive lineman, that you could get. And with this class being deep, get the best one. Go after the best one you can. Don't wait till the later rounds. Go after the best one. I know everybody wants them to jump up, but what is it going to be? Like, what are you giving up? What are you giving up? Like, what are you going to give up to jump up all the way to get a guy that maybe, okay, he might be able to work with your head coach. He might be able to be, palatable, but we'll see. Guys, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to have more sports conversations, so don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Swinging a line drive, fair down the right field line. That'll score at least one as Robertson is in. It's a double for Colton Wong to drive in yet another run.
The action on the Brewers radio network in a 6-0 win over the Cubs on Sunday. Brandon Woodruff outdueling Jake Arrieta. Woodruff gave up 2 hits, struck out 8, and walked 2 in his first win in 11 career appearances against Chicago. For the Cubs, Arrieta pitched 6 innings of 2-hit ball, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Milwaukee led it 1-0 after the first and piled on with a 5-run top of the 9th. The White Sox doubled up the Rangers 8-4. Michael Kopech struck out a career-high 10 over 5 innings. Jose Abreu homered and drove in 3 runs. NBA tonight, second straight for the Bulls at Miami. On Saturday, the Heat with a 106-101 win. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Receive a $5 rebate by trading up a non-contact thermometer toward an Exergen temporal scanner purchased at any retailer. Fever is a leading symptom of COVID, and using an accurate thermometer has never been more critical. In published studies, no-touch thermometers miss more fevers than they detect. While the new COVID vaccines are becoming more widely available, it is important to make sure you are protected. Monitor for fever with an accurate thermometer backed by more than 80 published peer-reviewed clinical studies. Details at Exergen.com, where accuracy matters.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We just got off with Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Audible, talking Bears. And this Thursday, this could be the curtain call for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace as the NFL draft starts this Thursday, and this could be their last draft. Hopefully, it's their last draft, unless Ryan Pace or Matt Nagy does a much better job of coaching. He's going to have to do a much better job of play calling. He's going to have to run this offense through David Montgomery. We'll see. We will definitely see. So I just don't trust Nagy calling the plays. I just don't. You know, he's and for reasons that I explained and elaborated on earlier, I just don't. I want to see who they get. All right, you know, I don't think that you need a cornerback. Like I said, I don't want a cornerback. I don't. Not in the first round.
No,
there's just too many other needs.
There's no need for it.
Dude, I'm thinking he's going to make a blockbuster trade, dude. Nagy Pace is not afraid to make those big time moves. And my thought is this: if I'm not going to be here, fuck it, I'm going out the way I want to go out.
That's the dangerous thing about it. And that's, to me, I think it's the opposite. I think I have my job secured. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go ahead and just continue to do what I'm going to do. We're going to fix the problem. We're going to fix the problem. You say my job's secure, I'm going to go ahead and do this. George says, okay, it's okay. I really don't think that their jobs are on the line whatsoever. I know, call me crazy, but
crazy.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I think that they are safer than we think. I'll say that they're safer than we think.
That's a shame. If that is the case, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking about them because I'm gonna blow a gasket. That pissed me off. Our bullies, the bullies, they play tonight, and I'll tell you what, they're in the MIA. They're in the 305. Bulls are in the 305. They take on the Miami Heat tonight at 7 p.m. The Bulls are trying to get in that 10th spot for the playoffs or higher if possible, but it doesn't look good for them. It doesn't look good for the Bulls at all. The Bulls have had a tough time beating teams over 500, and of the remaining 12 games, 9 of them. 9 times. Your son's been absent from school 9 times, Mrs. Bueller. 9 of their remaining 12 games are teams above 500. The Wizards, the team that they're jockeying for position with, they have 12 games left, and only 6 of their opponents are at 500 or more. You know, what we've seen with this Bulls team is we've seen a lot of inconsistency. We've seen great play one day, just crap play the next. Just when you think they got to figure out, they revert into isolation basketball. When the Bulls were having their success, their limited success, when they have had it, they're moving the ball. You're getting 30 plus assists per game, and that's the way it's got to go. That's the way it's got to go. You're going to have to get 30 plus assists because you have a center who is an all-star, and you have a center who can pass the ball. You have a lot going through Nikola Vucevic. Okay, use that joker. Have the offense run through him, and makes everything easier. And during some games, the Bulls will do that. In other games, they don't. The turnovers have been much better, especially by Cody White. He's done a much better job protecting the ball as a point guard, and that's necessary. That's part of his growth. Okay, but it's got to stop. This inconsistency, and we've been talking about this for weeks now. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't changed. So I don't anticipate, them doing much the rest of the season. I just don't think they. I don't think they make the playoffs. There's too many teams in that are over 500 that they play down the stretch. I don't think that they can overcome that. Period. So I don't know. One of the things. Well, let me stick with them for a second. So where do they go from here now? Did you get enough of a sample size to make a final determination on Lauri Markkanen? Okay, you didn't pick up his option. There was no extension done, so he's literally he will be a free agent at the end of the year or end of the season. So what have you done? What have you decided? Have you decided that your player development department can help him? Or is he gone? Because if your player development department hasn't identified him as one of the guys that they can really work with, you would have traded him by now, I would think. Because he can walk away and you get nothing. You get nothing. You got the bookkeeper, you got nothing. And that bothers me. Okay, so I expect them to get either one or two things. I guess it's gonna have to be one or two things. I think they might re-sign him, but it's gonna be at a rate a lot lower than he wanted.
What about sign and trade?
That's possible too.
Sign and trade. You have the money, or you make a deal. So maybe split the money down the middle, or whatever. However the percentages work. Send Lauri somewhere where you could. I don't know. I honestly think Lauri would be better off in the West. I really think Lauri would be better off in the West. I think Lauri. I don't know. He's just. I don't think he's the guy that we thought he was going to be. His toughness definitely hasn't peaked. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't gotten any tougher. I think he gets down on himself. I think everything about Lauri is up here, and I don't like how that has been meshing with the Bulls. So maybe he's homesick. Maybe he needs to go west. Maybe wherever Lauri needs to go, he needs to figure out where he'd be most comfortable. Because I don't feel like he's been comfortable here, ever since what's his name? The man that should be not smoking took over and pretty much shell shocked him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty much shell shocked him.
He's an important piece, man, or he could have been an important piece. And I think his development was stymied, and I don't know if he can recover. It calls to mind to me the mental fortitude of athletes. There are times where we see Lauri go nuts. We see Lauri take the ball, drive the ball with conviction, drive it with intent, with confidence. And other times he looks like a fish out of water. Okay, he's hesitant, a deer in the headlights, so to speak. And it's which Lauri are you getting on a specific night? It's not a situation where okay, well, Lauri's going to give us this type of effort every game. Hasn't been that way. So what do the Bulls do? Are they okay with letting him go? Right? Was he on the trade block and they couldn't get rid of him? No one wanted him. So are they willing to let him go? Because remember, other guys These are other professionals as well. They're thinking, okay, he's a free agent. Why should I trade for him this season? Okay, when I could just offer him in the offseason and not have to give up any of my assets from my team. So I don't know what the Bulls are deciding or have decided, or if they've decided. All right, but we're going to find out. And I just hope that this. I hope they don't make a mistake with Lowry. I would give him. I'd offer him a 3-year deal. Okay, offer him a 3-year deal with not too much money, and say, hey, listen, if you earn it with us here, then you can go anywhere you want. Okay, you can walk away from us after 3 seasons. Okay, and try and get a bigger payday. Or if we feel that you're one of the building blocks around, or you're one of the key components, we may offer you money. But Lowry has done himself no favors by constantly getting hurt, by constantly staying in the training room. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a situation where you have to stay healthy. And I don't know. I don't know what their stretching routine is, or why he's gotten injured. But that has to be looked at. That has to be looked at. I don't know. I just don't. He's an enigma to me, as he is with the Bulls front office. Does the player development department feel they can fix him or not, or get him on the right track?
Well, how long, Shawn? How long? Well, you know what I mean? Like, how long are we going to wait until they really are, all right, we're comfortable where Lowry's at. Lowry's comfortable where he's at as a player. This has been too long for my taste, at least.
But you just said that you got to get rid of the guy who kind of screwed him up and put him outside the 3-point line. Now he's got a new. I mean, but you said that before, so now he's got to adjust to a new thing, because there was times where he came out 30 points 2 years ago in opening night, but then doesn't do it again, and then you know what I mean. So that's why I'm saying to take a chance on him, because now you have a whole year of Billy Donovan. And then to go into next year, I think he'll have a defined role. And I do agree with you when you're saying, well, I feel you. I shouldn't say agree. I feel you when you're saying, well, how long? But look who he's been coached by that's kind of screwed him up.
Okay, I understand that. I can understand that. But what if, like they're already talking about, Billy Donovan's already talking about this frustration now in year 1. Let's say we're in year 2. We give him a 3-year contract, which I think is way too long. I think it should be like 1, maybe a 2-year deal, maybe a 1 and an option. You know what I'm saying? I think Lowry, if we find out Lowry halfway through next season isn't the guy that we wanted, it would have been a mistake to sign him in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a mistake. You want Lowry? Lowry's here to eventually be the starter. You want him to be the starter right now, but he just hasn't become that. And like, I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't know if it's shell shock, which you're right. It could be the fact that he hasn't had bad coaching. But even the good coaching is having frustration with him.
You know, so he's going to make 6.7 this year. Qualifying offer for 21-22 was $9 million. You want to give him $9 million? You know, he's getting 6.7. Okay, maybe you do give him $9 million for 1 year. You know, the kid's only 23 years old. The kid's only 23 years old. And, you know, most basketball players aren't even close to their peak at 23 years old. Okay. You're talking 24, 25, 26, maybe 27 is when you hit your peak in your prime. Do you want to give away this guy?
So do we want him to be Vooch? Do we want, and I understand where his skill set is, because he could drive and he could do he could do a lot. He could control the ball. Like he could definitely control the ball, handle the ball a lot better than a lot of big men. But is he going to be comfortable? Is Vooch the difference? Is an off season with the new regime plus Vooch gonna make the difference? It could. But Lowry, I think Lowry is in his own head, man. I think you're right. I think he's his own worst enemy. And like I said, it could be attributed to the last coach, or it could just be Lowry himself. And I'm more afraid it's Lowry himself, because if you get rid, look at how Zach's game has elevated after you got that leech off your back in Jim Boylan. Like imagine that. Where's Lowry's game elevated at any point after that?
No, I don't think it has, but I also think Zach was still doing the same thing last year as he's doing this year. Zach was the focal point. Zach was a guy, and he was going to go. Zach, what Zach has done, Zach has added to his game. All right, he's gotten better on the defensive end. Okay, and believe it or not, when you're better on the defensive end, you have bigger balls on the offensive end. Okay, because if I'm struggling defensively, offensively, I can get you defensively, and I think that's the great mindset that he's got. And now he's feeling himself a little bit. Now he knows I can get a basket whenever I need to, and Lowry still hasn't had that chance to get that type of confidence yet. Okay, and that has nothing to do with Zach, because Lowry, you can go and get yours, you can get off on your own. Okay, but for whatever reason he hasn't. And in Chicago Clubhouse, he said he's soft. I agree with you. I think a lot of these players are soft. I think Zach's soft. Okay, but Zach has been a lot more aggressive. Zach is not he's been so much better. I think he's gotten less soft, if you want to put it that way. Because
I never thought Zach was soft. So I thought Zach was complaining a little bit too much about the fouls, but now you could see once his game's been elevating and he's really been blossoming into the scorer that he's become, and he could be, so much better. I feel like Zach's mental toughness is just shot through the roof. I don't think Zach's soft by any means, but I think Lowry, because of I feel comfortability, I feel the stupidity of the last coaching regime, and just his own frustrations about not being healthy, his own frustrations about not being able to produce. I think Lowry is in his head, and like you said, soft. I think he's soft right now.
I do too. He
needs to flip a switch, or you need to get him the hell out of there.
And what's funny is that there's times you see him and that he's so aggressive. There's times you see him that he drives to the hole and it dunks on you. There's times you see him that he looks like he could turn the corner, and then he comes and pulls a 1 for 10, and you're like, where the hell was the shit that you had last game? I agree with you, Ivan. I think it's all in his head, but I also think that, Billy Donovan is the guy, and this staff is the staff that if he's going to amount to anything, to a hill of beans, this staff can get it out of him. Because he's got that potential. He's got that, that newish, that kind of Dirkish type deal, Dirk Nowitzki type skill set, where he can do whatever he wants. He can post you up. He can hit a three. He can hit a fadeaway. He can drive. He can take you off the dribble. He can pass. There's a whole bunch of things that he can do. I don't know about Zach being soft. Yeah. Trust me, I think he's a lot less soft this year, okay, than he's been in the past. I need him to finish this season and maybe make a run in the playoffs, because when you can carry a team, and that's what Zach's going to have to do, okay, him and Vooch, okay, you start carrying a team, I will not call you less soft or anything, or soft at all, okay. I need to see him do it finally. And he's finally gotten the confidence that he wants. He's finally got a coach, I think, that truly believes in him. He's finally got a coach that's done that he feels comfortable and respects. I think that's what it is. And now he's going balls to the wall.
Well, that's what I said. Like his kind of like Zach has been carrying the team because you got that idiot out of his position. Zach, I think Zach will be fine. Lowry is a different story. Even with the coaching change, even with them focusing on more development. You talked about Kobe White developing at a quicker pace now that he has Mo Cheeks. His turnover ratio is down. Has changed dramatically for the better. You can't tell me that Lowry's lack of anything. Lowry has been like this the entire time, Shawn. There's been no improvement. I think it's all in his head. I think a change of scenery for Lowry and the Chicago Bulls will work wonders. You could get enough for him, like you said, Clubhouse. Get him while he's worth a nickel. Do it now, or else you're going to be regretting it.
You guys might be right on this one. You might be right. I see what he can do. I see what he's done, but it just hasn't been consistent. It just, there hasn't been a stretch where he's led us in scoring for 3 or 4 games in a row. There hasn't been. Okay. And for me, that's what's necessary to see. I need to see him saying, "Hey, you know what? I got you." Okay, because if he's able to do that, if he's able to say, "Hey, listen, you could ride my back tonight," this changes the whole complexity of the team. But he hasn't been able to do it. He's shown he can do it one game, and then more, 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 games later. But that's not what we need. We need a guy who can do it consistently. Like, hey, if you're on, okay, I got you. I'm going to feed you till you can't do it. If I'm on, feed me until I need to give it up. If Vooch is on, we'll feed him until the cows come home. But he doesn't do it consistently. And that's why with this development department, do you want to wait or do you want to get rid of him? Because if he's 23, I'm saying give him a 1-year deal. I say give him a 1-year deal, and you say, hey, let's just make it or break it. You're with us. You have a 1 year to prove it. We can give you an extension.
Okay, but
if you don't prove it,
I think that'll be a point. I think that we're at a point where are we going to stand pat and stay stale at a position where I feel like we need to move forward with, because if we're talking about this Bulls team right here at the cusp of a play-in, playoff type of end to their season, what do you think next year needs to be? You think Billy Donovan's going to be all right? Like, we're going to take a bet. We're going to go ahead and wait for Lowry to get on the same page as everybody else? No, I think he's going to say, hey, at a certain point mid-season, if Lowry ain't the same way, because like I said, there's been no change. There's been no change. If Lowry's the same, what the hell do we need him for? Why is he still on the same? Why is he still on the team? It'll be the same type of deal. You signed him for what?
Well, for this. You draft and you develop people. Okay? You must develop them. And again, he had this other coach for a season and a half, and that dude just fucked him big time with his head. And don't get me wrong, I'm not absolving blame on Lowry at all. You got to stand up and you got to realize, reach down, make sure you got a pair and say, hey, listen, I need to get better. Okay, I need to get better. I need to be more aggressive. I need to attack the rim. I need people, because he has that ability. Now, I'm not asking Denzel to say I need to be better. I need to be, you know what I mean? No, he doesn't have the same skill set or the ceiling of a Lowry Markkanen. So Lowry's got to do some soul searching. Okay, you got to do some soul searching. Do you want it or not? Do you want to be part of this organization or not? Because if you do want to be part of this organization, then what you need to do, your ass needs to start playing better. Your ass needs to get tougher. Your ass needs to start taking people to the hole. Your ass needs to start dunking on people. Your ass needs to start rebounding on people. Your ass needs to start setting good screens. Your ass needs to play better, period. And I don't give a damn who's out there, your coach, whether it's Thibodeau, whether it's Boylan, whether it's Billy the Kid, whatever. That does not detract from your effort. Whoever's coaching you, should not detract from your defensive effort. Offensively, they have you doing different things that is maybe not best for your skill set. But you can play defense. That has nothing to do with who's coaching you. That's not a scheme. Okay. Oh, no. You need to do this. You need to play better. And if you don't, then you're gone. Period. And some people
game is so he could be versatile, but not one part of his game is like great. Lowry, like we talk about his versatility. Oh, he could do this, and that. Yeah, I get that, but what part of it? Which one does he do really well? Does he shoot really well? Does he drive really well? Does he rebound really well? No. He could just do all those things. Lowry, to me, just seems like a role player. If somebody thinks they could turn Lowry into something else right now, sign him and trade him and get as much as you can for him.
Well, if you get a nice haul, hell yeah. If you get a nice haul, hey, I ain't mad at I like Lowry. I like him a lot. But if you can bring back a haul, hell, if I was okay with Chris Sale being gone, and it took me a while for them to get you to be okay with Chris Sale being gone, but you're not untouchable. I just think you have a chance to be a part of this core, a very good part. But if you're not going to be, and someone else thinks they can and they're willing to give us something, sign and trade. Yeah, I agree. Don't even mention Felicio. He doesn't belong on an NBA roster. Period. Dude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at you, Felicio. I'm not mad because if they're going to offer me X million amounts of dollars and I'm horseshit like you are, I'm taking it. if they sign me to rebound today, me being 5'11", and I can't rebound for shit, okay, in a land full of guards that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and they keep me for 5 years, I'm taking that money. So I ain't mad at you, Felicio. You make your money, and you know, the hell with me and everybody else who talk shit about you. You make that money, boss. I ain't mad at you. It's the front office that's got to say, hey, what the hell is this guy doing? Hey, you know what? You can go back to Brazil and you can live a really comfortable life with the millions and millions of dollars you got from the Chicago Bulls organization. You hit the financial jack. You hit the
stole wrong, Shawn.
No, I didn't say stole wrong. Hey, they offered it to him. He didn't hold a gun to their head. They offered it to him. He signed. Hey, that's not on him. That's on Garpax.
Nest.
That's Garpax. That's Garpax. Says, hey, no one steals money because you can't take that money if they don't offer it to you. So bump that. Let me tell you, this is no. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good at all. I just ain't mad at you, Papa. I ain't gonna get mad. I ain't mad at you for trying to get for making that money. And if someone offers you, stupidly offers you that contract, man, sign it before you say, here's a contract. It's already signed. Hell yeah, dude. And then, it's guaranteed because the NBA. Come on, man. But he's got to go. He's got to go, and I think he'll be gone this year. There's no development. He's no. Take your money that you've got from this organization. I want to see what his what's his Feliciano contract. I want to see how much he made.
Too much.
Way too much. Way too much. Okay, it's 4 years, $32 million. Okay, 4 years, $32 million. 4 years, $32 million, dude. You are a buster. Okay, thank God his contract is up this year. 4 years, $32 million for that buster. That buster. Hey, but I ain't mad at you, Papa. Get your money. All right, you made $32 million. You figure you make about you got about 15 left, 13 to 15 mil left. Go back to Brazil, live like a king, bro. 13 mil. Hey, listen, man, 3 hours has come and gone. Holy sheesh. I want to thank my guest, Ozzie Guillen Jr. That was an awesome segment talking baseball. Yesterday he told me, he goes, dude, I only got 10 minutes for you. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. He goes, I'll let you know in the morning. And we go an hour. But it's great stuff, man. If you missed that interview, make sure you go back on to our YouTube channel or SportsZone Chicago on Facebook and go to the 2 hour mark. All right, right around the 2 hour mark. And no, he's at 10 o'clock. So the 1 hour mark. So the 1 hour mark, and you'll see Ozzie Guillen Jr. That was a great conversation. And I thank him for coming on. I also thank Nicholas Moriano from the Chicago Audible for coming on. I think his is too much. Hey, bro, you might be right. I think you're right, dude. I ran into him when I was in broadcast school. So this is 15. This is 2015, and he's still here. And he had just signed that contract, and he walked in. I was head of security over at Dick's Sporting Goods on in New City on Clybourne and Halsted. He walked in, I'm like, and it took everything in my power to say, you buster sign you that contract. But I was like, I can't be mad at you, bro. I'd sign it too.
Who the hell did they think he was going to be?
I have no idea, dude.
Who in the world did they think he was going to become?
I have no idea. But I also want to thank Nicholas Moriano for calling in, talking a little Bears football with us. And I want to thank you guys for chiming in. Terrence over at Chicago Clubhouse, thanks for tuning in. Jose, Big Z, Suazo, thank you. Lisa Victoria, gracias, ma. I appreciate it. Marshawn, great stuff. Thanks for tuning in and leaving questions, comments on the feed. We like having you guys involved because it's not a show without you guys. So we truly appreciate it. I also want to thank our executive producer, Elliot Baez, our social media guy, Clarence Council, my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai, and of course, I'd be remiss without mentioning my guy, Ivan Vargas. So listen, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to take a 45-hour break. We're going to see you on Wednesday. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. Until then, I got a couple of things. One, make sure you go download the app, SportsZone Chicago, wherever you get your apps from. Okay, wherever you get them from, download SportsZone Chicago. And also want to check out SportsZone Chicago later because tonight, Ivan, what do we got?
What's up, cuz? We got Kenneth Davis on tonight, and then I know Jason is working on
EC Hill.
the second guest, I believe.
EC Hill, female basketball.
That's correct. EC Hill with EC Hill and Kenneth Davis on tonight at from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock with What's Up Cuz with Jason Palmer and Lance Irvin Jr.
Great stuff. So for Elliot Baez, Clearance Counsel, and my guy Ivan Vargas.
I'll see y'all next. I'll see y'all tonight on What's Up Cuz, and then hopefully the Cubs get a win today. They got the Braves. I think they. I don't know. We'll see. I love my Cubs. I love my Cubs, and I'm just like, man, dude, this shit don't look good. Like, it don't look good.
Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. We'll see you on Wednesday. I got 2 more words for you, folks. We out.